it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. This is Big Daddy Dave, and this is Farm Sim Talk, a show where we get to talk to other creators within the Farm Sim community and get to find out a little bit more about them. I am pleased to be joined here by Rabid Rob. Rob, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Excellent,
How are
excellent.
you?
I am fantastic, or as my father would say, I'm finer than frog's hair.
Didn't know they had hair, but okay.
It's that fine.
There you go. Yeah,
Oh my goodness. So, do you want to kind of give us a little heads up of who you are and what it is that you do?
I'm just me. In the interview, no, I'm joking. No, I was born in North Dakota. Moved down here to Colorado when I was like 4 years old. My dad was stationed in the Army. 2 weeks out of high school, I went to the Army myself, so I was stationed in Fort Jackson, South Carolina, from June to August, which was hot.
Ooh.
Didn't like the humidity at all. And then up to Seattle, Washington for a while and got out up there. So travel around a little bit, which is nice. Never went overseas or outside the country other than Canada, really. Yeah, just had did some time doing that and just odds and end jobs and stuff here and there when I finally moved back home here to Colorado and then kind of like we were talking about offline and ended up getting in Farm Sim 19 when free on PlayStation started playing and went, whoa, this is amazing. So and then the pandemic hit, and I just stuck with that and started my channel roughly. It was pandemic birth. There you go.
There you go. So, nice little synopsis of who you are. Thank you so much. Do you want to give us any of your links to any of your either social medias or any of your channels?
Just I think it looks like Dust Bunny already put the the I have the two channels. The farm, yeah. So yeah, it looks like she's already put a couple in there. But other than that, yeah, no. And I'm here to. I don't mind the gift back, but I'm here to support other people. I don't like to drop my links all the time and stuff like that. I'm there to support, so that's why sometimes I'll pull up YouTube and I'll have, like three or four different channels on my gaming channel and maybe three to four of them on the farming, just separate. I just got them tabbed up on my Google channel. So I'll just put them down really low so I can, or mute the site entirely so I can give them some support. And that's, I say hi and whatnot, but I don't know. It's one of those things. Just, I'm not there for me. I'm there for the content creator, for the support. So.
Well, if that's the case, do you want to give anybody any shout outs before we move forward?
Um, What's on the spot? I didn't expect. I just got some friends. Well, I see that TTV, the Go Boom. He's actually a buddy of mine from my gaming channel. We play COD a bit together there. I posted you out. I said, shared your channel out for this, and he looks like he came over. So there's a few people that came over, so that's cool. Oh, there's Nacho too. Just jumped on it. Let's ride. We were doing that yesterday. So Red Dead Redemption 2 or online. But yeah, other
Excellent.
than that, like I said, there's a lot of people that I follow and just hang out with, and new people. Just some people that have known Dust Bunny for several years. And she's been supportive of a lot of people. So it's little things like that. It's just again, I try to do support wherever I can, but I can't, and it's hard to do when you get on the spot. Sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. Yes, big shout out and thank you to Dust Bunny and several others I see out there. I see Jessica Berry, Lisa, Jody. We
What?
got Samuel Wilkinson. We got let's see who else we got out there. I see Nacho and TV Go Boom. Thank you all so much. Why Not Gaming? Brady, thank you all so much for stopping by tonight. Let's go ahead and get into the interview. So, starting out, we have our first segment here. This is called Digging Up Dirt. This is a segment where we get to know you a little bit more for who
Uh-oh.
you are.
Lisa said, "Hello, sweetheart." Is she talking to you? No, I'm joking.
I mean, anything's possible.
I'm just joking. I gotta give her a hard time. She's giving me some earlier. So.
Oh, goodness. So, let's start out with our first question. Do you have a job outside of your content creation, or is YouTube your primary job?
Oh yeah, no, I gotta have a job. I'm just kind of in between a couple things right now, but yeah, I was in a place for over 7 years, and just right now I'm kind of doing some DoorDash and Grubhub stuff for in between. So, but just happened recently, so I'm still, everything is moving forward, but I'm putting some applications in, getting through that. So So, but just like I said, keeping moving strong. But yeah, YouTube is a decent part, but it's not. I've not put as much content to make it a full time job, obviously.
Gotcha. And what would you say are some of your hobbies? Do you like hiking, fishing, sports?
Yes. I'm not a huge on the sports person. I do like football. Denver Broncos. I mean, I live in Colorado. They've been my team since I was a little kid. But yeah, I went to being in Colorado. My parents are. I'm actually in Colorado Springs, which are right at the foothills of the mountains. I mean, from my actually my the office space I'm in right now is a spare bedroom in the apartment I just moved in recently. And I look out the window right now. I just turning my head around. I can look out. I can see the mountain range. I see Pikes Peak. It's got a little bit of overcast on it now as the sun's setting down, but yeah, it's some great views here.
That sounds
So I love,
beautiful.
like you said, hiking, fishing, camping. I haven't been camping as much. Last time I went with my dad for my 50th birthday, actually a little over a year ago. My birthday's in May, so the weather is still kind of iffy here. We've had a little snow too, but we went. They have a pop-up camper, so we took that out and stayed in that instead of a tent. A little old for the tent, you know.
I gotcha, gotcha. And what kind of fishing do you do? Do you do like fly fishing or just bobber?
I tried doing some fly fishing not too long ago, but it's a little bit tougher. It's definitely a little hard to do. But mostly, depending on where you go to, some places around here that's artificial flies and lures only. So especially for going to some of the creeks or the rivers or whatnot, I'll just take some lures or something. But if we go to the lakes, as long as they have bait, yeah, I'll try and throw a night crawler or something there. But my dad and I went on 4th of July last year, actually, the weekend after the 4th of July, and didn't catch any, but we had a few bites. So it was fun though.
Oh, you know what? Doesn't matter how many you catch, as long as you get out there and you have some fun. That's the way
And the
I see
scenery
it.
too. And it was actually the last time I was able to get my dog out and actually do something before she passed last year, unfortunately. But
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
12,
that.
yeah, I had her 12 years. She was just about 13 years old when she got sick. But
What kind of dog?
she was a black lab and blue heeler mix. So she
Beautiful
was about
dog.
40, 45 pounds. Yeah, she's so, it's funny because she's smart. But she had the lab in her, so she's hyper. And I said, don't do that. And she like, stop because she knew that she wasn't supposed to do it. So her brain would think, wait, should I do that? But her hyperness wanted to do it. It's just funny watching that click in her head. But yeah, I still miss her. But she got her in a, you know, first dog or first pet that I ever had to deal with myself, because usually family members always took care of that. So now I just live on my own, me, myself, and I. So which is fine. I mean, it's been nice getting away from roommate situations and enjoying my space and my time by myself. I don't have to worry about anybody. I don't have hardly that place I'm renting is actually a detached garage from a main house because I got a big yard here. So I'm behind the garage, which is on the west side facing the mountains. It's like a little garden, a little yard. So I mean, yeah, it's been pretty soothing. I gotta say, that's for sure.
It sounds excellent. I mean, especially with the sights and everything that you got. I mean, between the kind of therapeutic setting of the
Yeah, so,
mountains and
yeah,
all that,
it is
it
nice.
sounds relaxing.
Yeah, I did do some videos on my farm sim channel too, a couple of shorts in my garden area, and when I'm trying to do kind of something to, because I enjoy it, so I thought I'd share it. Some views on them, but again, it's just for sharing and kind of being personable to everybody that I can. So, but it's pretty nice to it's cool to share, especially when you're happy about something to share that too.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So let me ask you this: do you enjoy reading books, watching movies, listening to music?
I'd rather watch the movie rather than read a book. I mean, I know how to read. My brain does not stay in one place. I don't know what it is. The only time I ever was able to stay focused even a little bit was when I was doing some study books. I went to college for a few years. Never stuck, unfortunately. I wish I would have stuck with it, but personal thing, you don't realize how much somebody affects you until you live with somebody, especially when they're not pulling their weight. Old friend of mine, whatever. That's a whole other story. But yeah, I did went to school for some game software development, so turning video games, streaming all that, or creating them. But so yeah, that was fun to learn some of those things, but I never really got too far. into the whole degree side of it, but it's trying to take some time to do those type of things can takes a lot more. But the books part, like I said, I could read them, but unfortunately, I'd have to go back after several pages. Like, wait, what did I just read? Because my brain would start drifting. I would reading it word for word, but my brain would not be there. So one of those
I
kind of things. But
I have that same exact issue sometimes. It's one of those where I'll start reading something and then I'll just trail off. It's like the dog from the movie Up. It's like, and you'll just sitting there focusing all of a sudden, ooh, squirrel.
yeah, or like on that old cartoons. Hey, Spike, hey, Spike, hey, Spike. His brain
Mm-hmm.
starts doing that. Yeah, it's crazy. And I mean, I'll if I'm writing something or doing code, I don't do it near as much. But Farm Sim, especially, like I know we were talking right before the stream, being on PC. Oh, it's so. I love my PlayStation. I love playing the games on there, but the mods and the stuff you can do with the PC. Several of them, I've learned how to go into the codes and change the capacities or the types of whatever. I know how to edit a few other things, but it's so hard to kind of the whole thing's not so hard, but going doing some of the schoolwork, seeing how the code's played out, I recognize it, so I can read that. That kind of reading I'm okay with, and then I can edit and whatnot. But yeah, the movies are definitely a big thing, and obviously video games because playing the games it's just relaxing. It's calming as long as it's not Call of Duty or something. It's gonna be fun too. Don't be wrong, but it depends on who you're playing with, of course.
Oh, 100%. What would you say is some of your favorite movie genres?
I like a lot of a pretty good variety, but comedy is still one of my favorites just because it's fun and when you laughing and joking around with something is really cool. Um, I like the action movies. Some of my favorites, I think, Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds did great job. He finally nailed it. Because I mean, I didn't think he was terrible in Green Lantern, but I don't think it was really full fit for him. But Deadpool, he nailed it. Really good. Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, just to the T. I think he did really good. Thor, a lot of these people fit their roles very, very well, but I still think Iron Man, the first one's one of my favorites, one of the best made ones, I think, of all of them. And same thing, there's so many good movies and other things out there that are hard to follow, and so many great genres, like you said, growing up, all the Ghostbusters, the Pirates of the Caribbean, all the Indiana Jones, all the, Back to the Futures. I mean, Jesus, there's so many.
Oh yeah, especially back in those days. I mean, there was a plethora of amazing movies back in those days, back in the
Absolutely.
80s, 90s. And I mean, even before then, you could really dig deep and find some really good ones from all sorts of genres and all sorts of, decades. So,
Absolutely.
can't
Breakfast
really say
Club,
that.
Pretty in Pink,
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Some of the classics that most everybody should know.
Yeah, you can't really say too much about that nowadays, but you still get a couple of hits
No,
here and
there's
there.
there's so many remakes of things to really look at. I mean, like Lord of the Rings too. I mean, they could have made each book because I remember reading those in school. I think that's the last time I really took the time to read a full book and all because we had to. But the Lord of the Rings movies, I mean, they could have split those into two movies each and still been 2.5 hours or longer because there was
Hmm.
so much in those books. They did a really good job. The special effects, everything was just amazing on those things. Though.
Yeah, the original Lord of the Rings were just fantastic. They were
Yeah,
just great, great stuff. And what about
absolutely.
music? What kind of music are you into?
I like a little bit of. I like mostly everything. Anything that has some type of depth to it. Really, I've always been a good rock and roll fan. I like the '80s hair bands, and I grew up during that time. So all the Poison, Rat, and Motley Crue and things like that. But I do like this old Metallica too. Metallica's still around. I can't believe how much they've changed, but yet still there. Throughout all the years. But so I mostly like them. I do like a little bit of rap and R&B stuff. Not much though, but I still like anything. Usually is a little bit older. I like the older stuff because it's had a little more depth to it, and I think they were able to say a little more. Because nowadays everything's so kind of capped off. They're like, ooh, ooh, be quiet, because it's sensitized, so everybody's got to be just right, and it's sad to see because it would be nice to see some people just really express themselves the way they're supposed to. I mean, nowadays there's so many lids that are tightening down on people and everything. It's there's still some decent music out there. Don't get me wrong, but You know, and I'm playing Farm Sim. I actually listen to country more because it kind of fits the.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I bit back and forth with country. Not sure if I liked it. Then I liked it, and I didn't. But with the game, it's great. Just turn on the radios. I'm plowing a field or whatever. It sounds. It just fits it though. I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Get you into the whole farm vibe.
Yeah. It's like I don't know if you remember seeing the movie Son-in-Law with Pauly Shore.
Yep. Yep.
Thank God I'm a country boy. It was
Yeah,
just cheesy stuff.
the Green Acres.
Yeah, yeah. I know it's cheesy movies from back then, but there's something about them that just make you smile. You know, it's great.
They had a little like a charm to them that even though they were corny,
Hmm.
cheesy, that it was okay. It was okay to be corny and cheesy.
Exactly. You look at the same thing with the Mel Brooks movie. Sorry, just not very very politically correct at all nowadays. But you know, they're so silly. But that's the whole point. They were meant to be silly. They were funny. There was something with them that just made them funny. You know, Blazing Saddles, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the Monty Python Holy Grail, just classic. You know, just some of the stuff. We are
Just
the
fun to
knights. You know,
scratch.
just exactly. It's a frustrating to get back here. But that's what I'm saying. See, anybody that's seen those movies, you mentioned something about it. Everybody has something they remember from those type of things. And that's what I enjoy is something that's memorable.
Oh yeah, and I mean even to this day, I still go back and watch some of those old classics out there. You mentioned
Hmm.
Ghostbusters earlier. That was one of my favorites as a
Oh
kid
yeah.
growing up. You know, I was born in '83, so that came out only a few years after I was born, and oh,
Mhm.
just it was great, and it still is great to this day.
Yeah, I have them on Blu-ray, the Ghostbusters 1 and 2. And the
Mm-hmm.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The newer ones I think were okay, but something about those 80s, 90s ones that we grew up with, just something. The TV. Oh, and then the Transformers. Oh man, I tell you, we're not just saw him on the chat Twitter. We were talking yesterday. The Autobots roll out. You know, just that voice, distinctive voice, and just really cool to see some of those things, especially. And then Darth Vader. So sad to hear. You know, the George Jones passing, but that
Mm-hmm.
voice is just iconic. You know,
Oh,
so many great
absolutely.
things.
So you mentioned Mel Brooks earlier in Blazing Saddles. Did you hear that they're making a new Spaceballs movie?
Yes, I heard on the radio they're making Spaceballs too, and Rick Moranis and everybody's coming back. Well, what? That would be. Now I'm gonna be honest. I only saw parts of Spaceballs. I need to go watch it.
Oh man.
Especially, yeah. Well, see, I was a huge Star Wars fan too. I like all the Star Wars. I mean, not to the point where I'm sitting outside the theater and dress and whatnot, but um, I do like so being kind of a spoof Star Wars. I didn't really get into it as much, but I think my tastes have changed a little bit more too. I can really watch those. So I like stuff goofy, like you were talking about too, as like Super Troopers and Beer Fest and just off the wall. You know, Broken Lizard stuff is kind of off the wall. But same thing with some Adam Sandler ones. Some of his are just off the wall. But if you're in the mood for a dodgeball, whatnot, it's goofy stuff, but it's meant to be goofy and make you laugh.
Yep,
So,
exactly. Oh man,
but you got to be in the mood for that kind of stuff. Yeah.
dip, dodge. Oh man, I forget all five of them, but
Five decent dodgeball. Dip, dot, dot, dive, dip, and dodge. Yeah, so dodge is on there twice. But yeah, I know it's some funny things that we remember from all these movies. We remember those silly little lines from and stuff. It's crazy.
yeah, it's oh, good times. Like I said, they really tried, even though that, like we said earlier, that they were just kind of off the wall, goofy things. They did try
Yeah,
and they did do like a good job, and it was for your entertainment, and that was above all else, kind of thing.
exactly.
So,
It was meant for fun, and people and the jokes about the people that were in it were laughing and making the jokes about themselves. I mean,
mm-hmm.
you know, I get the details obviously, but still, I mean, that was funny, and they were laughing. They made the joke themselves about it, and it's pretty funny.
Well, I can highly recommend Spaceballs. It is by far one of my favorites when it comes
Nice.
to
I
the
gotta
whole
watch that.
spoofs genre. Yeah, even though like I'm a big Star Wars fan myself, you know, 4, 5, and 6, absolute favorites. You know, One, two, and
Yeah,
three. I will take one, two, and three over seven, eight, nine any day of the week. That's just me personally, but yeah,
I think the
I will
yeah, and
put
that's
Jar Jar on repeat.
and I think the biggest thing with they all have their place to some degree. So if you watch them in sequence, like from one to seven or whatever, but or nine, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or eight, right? It's because eight or nine, not eight, right?
Seven, eight, nine. Yeah.
Nine, yeah, nine. So yeah, so with that, I mean, they have their place to some degree if you follow through with them. But actually, it's funny. I don't have to look it up and see if I can find it. But so I saw something that somebody was talking about how the names of the movies were actually mixed up because if you read them, there's certain things like, whoa, that kind of makes sense because they're different words. But so little things like that, yeah, they may have come, but still, I mean, you think about that franchise too. It started back in the '70s. I mean, they came out a long time ago,
Mm-hmm. No,
and they just
it's
ended. They just came out with the last one. Well, still, I mean, they have the spin-offs, and I mean, I think Rogue One was a good one. I didn't hate it, but it just they keep trying to milk everything off of these things, and that's the problem I'm having with some of these studios that just don't care. They just want to milk everything they can get out of everything.
mm-hmm. Well, and that's why we have 500 million Marvel movies. That's I mean, there's they're getting that blood out of that stone whether we like it or not.
Exactly. And I mean, it is what it is. I mean, again, like you said, there's a few good ones in there, yes, but then they start, it's just, okay, another one? Or what? Oh, this is a remake? Just things like that. Because like back in the day, too, I remember watching um, Lost Boys.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a little bit cheesy to some degree, but still, I thought it was a pretty darn good movie. They talked about doing a Lost Boys too, but it was like just a few years ago that I heard something about it. I'm like, why would you do that something that much later? I mean, some of the people aren't even alive anymore, I don't think. So it's kind of crazy. And then other thing too, if you look at Goonies and Josh Brolin, I was like, wait a minute, that's Thanos. He played Thanos, which is funny because he was a skinny, teenage punk back then.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at him now, it's like he played Thanos, he played Cable. I'm like, wow, that's he
It's
definitely
impressive.
changed a bit. Yeah, absolutely.
So let
It's
me
good to
ask
see
you.
versatile actors like that. Oh yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead and finish your thought.
I'd say versatile act. It's good to see versatile actors like that. So people can do
100%. So let me ask you this: what are some of the oddest or weirdest movies that you've seen in your lifetime?
weirdest.
Mm-hmm.
I think Clockwork Orange is probably one of the weirdest and trippiest because I saw it many years ago, but it still haunts me today because I don't know if you've ever seen that one or not, but it's weird. I mean,
I
it's a little off the wall for sure.
I've seen like bits and pieces, but I never sat down to like consume the whole thing.
That's a little off. And I think one of the ones that's supposed to be funny, the spinning clock awards is terrible. The whole premise of it, yes, it was not a good, but it was just so odd. It was just kind of like, what? But I think for some reason, one of the ones that I don't really like, and it's not that it's bad, it's just I can't believe they made it. And it sounds terrible because of some of the other stuff I've talked about already, is Napoleon Dynamite. I just can't get into that movie. It just wastes my life away. It feels like we had
Mm-hmm.
all watched like oh gosh, what's the Scott Pilgrim versus the World? Kind of similar premise, but I like that one. I think it's kind of cheesy and funny though. But some reason the Napoleon Dynamite, I just can't get into that one.
I'm right there with you. I remember when that first came out and everybody was like in love with it. Like I had
Yeah,
people around me that were like wearing the vote for Pedro t-shirts and
yeah.
all that stuff, and it's like I don't get it. I just don't get it.
And that's exactly. And see, my thing is too. I don't get it. It's not my cup of tea. I move
Yep.
on. I'm not going to sit and dwell on it. A lot of people sit there and go, "Why?" I just don't get it. It's fine. I'm not going to degrade the movie or say anything else about it. I'm moving to the next thing. There's no reason to get
Exactly.
on to that. It's my opinion. Your opinion is different. Then let's agree to disagree and move on. But
100%. Absolutely. So, what would you do if content creation wasn't an option for you anymore? Let's say your computer blew up, you didn't have a means to replace it, or really just you didn't have any means to continue on. What would you do beyond that?
Well, first off, ideally, my dream would be to have my own little, uh, I can't say really say farm, I guess ranch or kind of like a homestead. I would like to have something that's so technically, if I do that, it would be kind of harder to do content more or less because of the internet specifically, especially if you're in the middle of nowhere. I mean, generally you can get something like that, but yeah, ideally I think it'd be kind of nice to have I would love to have some property. You don't need a whole lot, some acreage in the mountains somewhere, have a few animals maybe, and I talked about more necessarily greenhouses, especially in Colorado here, because then you can actually grow stuff year round, veggies and whatnot. We have a couple fields for like grains or whatnot, but still just kind of something like that. So it's mostly off grid. So technically it would be away from content creating anyway. So do some. I mean, I could record things still, and of course, to get into service areas, I could upload whatever. But I think that would probably. I do like being outside, especially like here now with my new place. I have a yard area, so I actually go out there and daily I'll go out there and look at the plants, and a lot of stuff's growing. I have a few things, but I'm learning. I haven't done this before in a long time. So being away from the computer or digital anything is really get out there and look at the dirt, physically dig in the dirt. Going back to the roots of mankind. I mean,
Oh,
obviously not hunting, but still, don't want to hunt in your backyard because there's just birds and nobody wants to do that.
so would you
but
consider yourself rather handy, or?
yeah, I've done. I'm kind of like a jack of all trades because I know a lot about a lot of things, but I don't. I know a little about a lot of things, but not a lot about one thing. So I've done so many different jobs throughout my life. I was a truck driver for a while. I did construction. I did I worked overhead doors, so I did garage doors. So it's funny, I still go in people's garages sometimes. I look at their doors and the trims and get a quick glance of what it looks like. It's because it's a habit. I've done construction when I was in St. Louis. After I got out of the army, moved to St. Louis, a buddy of mine that I was in the military with, but and we did construction, so landscaping, stonework, and all that kind of stuff. So I did a little bit of everything, drywall. So I did everything from putting concrete in the basement and putting toilet and everything, and all the way up to roofing a house. So it's been a long time, but I did that for a little while. Like I said, driving trucks. I did warehouse work. I've done a little bit of pretty much everything. So I enjoy the fact that I have so many different things that I've done, and I'm like, okay, I didn't really like this one. It's like the bartender. I did a bartender. I did a bouncer. It's not my cup of tea. I don't really care for those kind of the feeling you get sometimes too, especially at the time it was a means to an end, but and it had moments because I was going there anyway to have a couple beers or whatnot. So they hired me on them, but yeah, one of those things like nah. Be nice to have certain jobs. Well, my family has an auto shop, so my brother's actually running it now, so I know a bit about that. But also don't want to do that full time, working on other people's cars that could be junk or whatnot.
I gotcha. So it sounds like you'd be really good at having a homestead, being able to kind of do a lot of the things for yourself and be able to set things up. And cool thing is nowadays is that with things like Starlink, I mean, you could be pretty much anywhere
Yeah,
on the planet and be able to, upload content. So I know there's plenty of people who are out in the middle of nowhere and they'll, upload and do the homestead, vlogs and all that stuff. So would not be outside the realm of possibility.
yeah. I follow a couple of people too that do those more than farmers. Oh, I don't know if you. Yeah, I can't remember the other one for some reason. The homesteady or something like that. The same thing. They do a lot of really cool homestead families. They show how they do things. Like, man, this is really cool. One of them they wanted to do an off grid thing, and they showed the whole experience going up to Canada or Alaska actually, and they just the whole family, them and like three or four of their kids, I think it was, and they're basically building in Alaska of all places. And yeah, you see the what they went through. And it's like maybe homesteading off grid's not the best way to go. But it's neat. Again, you can't get the full experience until you experience it yourself. But seeing what other people go through and watching and following through with those things, it's like wow, that's kind of cool because then you can kind of get maybe I don't want to do that because you can't use this, you can't use this. You don't have hot water unless you heat it up yourself. But you don't have flames unless you light it yourself. So a lot of all different things that really think about it. You don't think about it. Oh, I'm just going to go off grid. You can't have a cell phone either because you're off grid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So little things like that.
So let me ask you
Speaking of
this.
cell, yes,
Oh,
sorry.
no, go ahead and finish your
I was
thought.
going to say, speaking of cell phones, I mean, those have not really been out that long, and now we got little computers in our hands. It's crazy how far we've come with those.
Oh, technology has advanced so far. I mean, you figure from when
Yeah.
I was a kid. I mean, just looking at televisions,
Mm-hmm.
you had a television
Oh
that
my
was the
goodness, yeah.
size of a small Buick.
The tube in that thing alone, those things. I had a 32 inch I used to carry around when I moved places. Man, that thing was a massive, heavy. And now I just put a 75 inch because someone got more space, so I put a 75. I carried it up the stairs by myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
It's incredible. It's
it's not
incredible.
fathomable sometimes when you think about it. Yeah. Yeah, technology. My dad worked at Hewlett Packard for a long time too, so remember he used to get computers home. We had to put a key in the back and turn it on to be able to use it.
Oh
And the
wow.
old floppy disk drives. Oh my gosh, we've come a long way since.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's incredible. I still remember like having one of those old oh goodness, it was an old Mac, like the old Apples,
Mm-hmm.
and it was all black and white, and it had the little stack tower to it, and it was so bad that I had to actually punch it to get it to turn on.
Yeah, it's like the old Nintendo games. You had to blow. Don't blow in the cartridges. Well, what worked?
Mm-hmm.
Blowing in the cartridges. and
That's
then
it.
you have to tap it every once in a while. Tap it a couple times to make sure it connects. Yeah, it's so crazy. Kids don't know what they have nowadays.
Oh, kids nowadays have it so good.
Oh, no doubt. It's funny how that works out, though.
So, if you had the opportunity to be able to go and do a homestead, what would be some of the things that would kind of set you up for success in a homestead? What would be the things that you would do?
Oh, I ideally, obviously, would have. If I can find a place that has some old buildings already on it, like old cabins and whatnot, I think that would be really cool. Not that obviously they'd probably be pretty deteriorated and whatnot, but just kind of refurbish them a little bit and just because keep the nostalgia of the old buildings. Ideally, I'd like to have, like I mentioned before, is a couple of different type of greenhouses that way I could put each type of plant in there. So like tomatoes and tomato, one lettuce for because some of them don't use the same humidity or the same soil preparation. So kind of keep some smaller little greenhouse things so that way I can do it year round, but also have a little something out there. I don't need a lot. I mean, I'd like to have some land. I would love to have a lake or a stream or something go through it because then I could go fishing or whatnot. Because it would be, and then plus it's all obviously a water source as well. But yeah, there's a couple places. There's actually one that I know of. I'd have to look it up again. But my dad and I would go fishing and go riding. We ride. Most of my family's a pretty big motorcycle fan. I don't have my own right now, but my dad's got like four Harleys. He's got four Harleys. Yeah, and then he's got a dual sport, which he can't ride them all. He's always like, "Don't worry about getting your own. So you can ride one of mine," which I get wary of too because I'm not as experienced. And you're looking at a 15, $20,000 bike or whatever. I'm like, are you sure? The 4,000, 3,000, I can understand. 20, yeah, it's a little, but
Yeah, you don't want to make a $20,000 oopsie.
yeah. Well, he's got a 65 Panhead, which is his
Ooh,
investment bike, which is really cool. But every time he rides, just like the old Harleys or Indians or any old bike, he basically gets back and has to fix stuff because they rattle so much, just from being old.
yep.
And
Oh yeah.
they have yeah, they have 5 acres of prop in the mountains there, so he has to come down a pretty good length of dirt road before you get on the highway or on any kind of roads. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see those old vehicles and can't make them like they used to. That's for sure.
Oh, for certain. Would you consider yourself a car guy?
Yeah, I mean, I don't work on them like I used to either, but yeah, I do enjoy cars, especially the old classics. I mean, I got a 2000 Honda CRV right now, but my brother had it come through the shop. He's like, "Hey, this guy just needs tires and this and that." So I was like, "Cool, $800 and paid for it." So don't have a car payment. It works great.
Hey,
So things
that's
like that are pretty
nothing to
nice.
sneeze at.
Exactly.
So
So
what
and
would you
it's
consider your
decent.
dream car to be?
Well, my dream exotic car would always be. I've always had a thing for, and I still would love to have it. I mean, even though it's older, as a 20th anniversary, which I think was like the 80s or whatever. Lamborghini Countach 5000S.
Oh,
Something about
yes.
that. Yes, we actually saw some because we went up to one of the resort areas up here in the mountains, and they had Lamborghini rides, and man, that thing was so low to the ground. And but just it was so cool to see that. But they were expensive for the rides and all too. But yeah, so that would definitely be something I wouldn't mind getting back into. But other than that, honestly, I would just like to get my two favorite vehicles I've ever had. Honestly, were my '97 Jeep Wrangler, which the two-door Wranglers. I don't care for the four-door Wranglers. Just a personal thing again.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they're very popular, but they just look funny to me, especially the doors are off of them. But the fact you take the doors and the top off those things, those are so cool. And I had the sliding glass windows instead of the zipper ones. So a
Oh
little
yeah,
less
yeah.
space, but they're a lot more durable.
Yep.
And then I had a 90 something Toyota 4Runner, and that was pretty nice too, 5 speed. So the standard would be really cool to have. I love the 4-wheel drive with the standard because you could pop it in a 4 low first gear and literally just creep down a hill. And those Jeeps, I was surprised. I was sideways. Some buddies of mine used to go partying and hanging out one night, and then we'd go flying up in the mountains just to goof around. And there's a couple times I went up on a hill or snow and it turned me sideways and go, oh crap. And it stayed. I should have flipped, but luckily it stayed. The stance on those things are pretty good.
Oh yeah. I mean, for being such a narrow car, it's got
Yeah.
some upsides to it. But
Yeah, it's something 4-wheel drive would be. I'd love to get something a little more durable. The CRV is all-wheel drive, but it's not an off-road vehicle.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, in a 4 wheel drive, I mean, even really an all wheel drive vehicle up where you're at there, it's pretty necessary because you get going to certain places out there in Colorado, you're gonna get into the thick of it, the snow and the hills and the mountains and all that stuff.
Yeah. And my first vehicle was bought from my grandparents, a '75 Chrysler New Yorker. So it was rear-wheel
Mm.
drive, big motor, big boat, and I drove it to school a few times. I did slide a little bit, but you learn real quick once you do that. I had a '69 Impala after that, and I drove that thing up to Seattle when I was in the Army up there, and I got so used to that. People would freak out. They're like, "I can't believe you drive this thing. You drive it like a little Honda because I could literally whip it in and out of traffic like it was nothing." But I knew the size of my vehicle, and it wasn't little, but it's just funny when you drive something enough and you actually learn the size of it, what you can do with them.
Oh yeah, yeah. You spend enough time in something, you get pretty used to it pretty quick. And before I move on to my next question, let me thank you for your service because I keep
Oh
meaning
yeah,
to
yeah.
say it, but it's one of those I keep trailing off.
Oh no, no. Well, thank you, but yeah, I was young and dumb and just trying to do something, but it was fun. But and there's times I'm like, man, back in. I was a young kid. I didn't know what I was doing, so if I'd have done something more on what was available at the time, but it was just a job at the time for me though.
Well, I
But
mean,
it was an experience, that's for dang sure.
it's one of those where there's all of us, every single one of us goes through a young and dumb phase. But
Yeah,
the problem is that most of us will go through our young and dumb phase and do something deconstructive. At least you
yeah,
went through and did
exactly.
something constructive with it. So
Yeah.
it's one of those where people like myself. I've got two brothers who are currently in the military. One's in the Navy National, or not Navy, Navy reserves, just transferred into the
Hmm.
reserves. He was active duty for the past like 6 years. And then I've got a brother who's active in the army at the moment up there in New York. So,
Mm.
so I've got plenty of family. Had grandparents in the military, and so I greatly appreciate every single person who's put on the uniform for our country and done what they had to in order to do it. So thank you for everything that you've
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, of course. It's like I said, it was okay. You're welcome. I'll just leave it that. It's hard for me to take compliments. Sorry. It's one of those things. I'm more of a giver than a receiver, so that's why it's harder to take compliments at times or thank yous and whatnot. But I appreciate it.
Oh, no worries, no worries. So let me ask you this: What's has it been your dream to make content in Farming Simulator, or do you feel like you just kind of fell into it?
Well, sorry, I got fresh bread wafting down the hallway here because I made some bread earlier, and I'm like, what's that smell? Oh yeah, my bread maker's just.
Ooh,
This fresh bread is so good. The
so
smell of it
good.
alone is great. Um, well, yeah, many years ago, especially when YouTube was kind of big back then, it was Call of Duty. I was like, do Call of Duty. I want to be a content. And I'm very thankful actually I didn't jump into it then because I thought it was easy. You jump in, you make it. Boy, we both know it's not a get rich quick thing that at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad I didn't do it then. Of course, like I said, and then after years went by through the farm sim, like we discussed a little bit earlier, I did get Farm Sim 19 free on PlayStation Plus, and I was like, farming simulator? Play that stuff. That's weird. But I put it in my library, blah, blah, blah. It's like any of the games. Put it in my library, and I said, hey, I want to play this. And also the fact that the PS5 has a small hard drive, so you want to make sure you get the. I have an external one, so old PS4 games I put on that. But yeah. So then that pandemic came around. I was like, well, let me play some. Let me check this farm sim. And it's kind of bored one day, and man, I got hooked. I mean, 19 was. I guess it was a pretty good era for it too, and from what I've heard from everybody else with precision farming and everything else that came out with it, man, I just was like, wow, this is great. And I started playing it, and Farmer Klein, like we talked about a little bit earlier, he's one I got into quite a bit watching his farm, his map reviews and whatnot. Playing games with him, he had servers, and him and several other people sold some modding, which I did actually. If you look at some of my first videos on my farming channel, the old Ravenport challenge that Clutch and DJ were trying to do, or I think it might have been Matsy or whatever. But they did, yeah, it was one of those things that Schultz and I played it on PlayStation. We did a live stream trying to figure it out, and it just some of the stuff you go back and look at the old things, like, dang, that's my editing's not perfect by any means, but it's definitely gotten better so 8 years. But yeah, it's just, and then I started going, let me play this game. Started learning more about it. Literally going, because I started on the console, and I would literally go on like once I found out there was mods and other things, like what? And the Alpine expansion, with Erlengratt, and I was like, dang. So I started putting buildings down, testing them, putting TMR, mixing this, mixing. So I did all this stuff myself because I'll go in there, and yes, I love doing the training, making things, but I like to test stuff too. So I'll go in there and I'll literally wipe out a whole area, put stuff down, run through cycles, and that's what I love about PC. I could zip through it a lot quicker, so I could test them more. But I watched, like I said, Farmer Klein did a lot of map reviews and gameplay and whatnot on that. I watched DJ Goham, all the mods, Mr. CDP, especially since I was on console. I mean, really taking the time to watch all these things. I would literally go to work and then go on my bathroom break, take my phone there and turn on DJ, watch all the new stuff that came out. Little stuff like that, especially during the pandemic, we had some people in the office still. So I'd be in there, and then just watching all the things, and I started going, these guys are making videos. Let me try to do that. Let me get a channel going. And one of the guys at work, one of the security guys, he had a channel doing some comic books and things like that. And he's like, yeah, go for it, man. I was like, well, I don't know what to do. So he kind of helped me a little more. And it really worked out pretty well. And then I just did the Rabid Rob gaming. And then I was like, man, Rabid Rob in the farming game, that sounds kind of weird. People just know it's the best thing I heard from that is like, no, it's not you, the Rabid Rob thing. It's how you play the game. It's how you do things. Kind of a little bit crazier than whatever. Like, okay, well that works out then. And that's when I went to the farming, and then again working more content. My first live stream, well, I think it was the first long live stream that I actually did. I did a test one before that, but I turned the radio on in the track, which I got copyright. Because I think every single song on that thing was Giants was a copyright claim on them. So, but it was fun to do, and I started learning more and more. Yeah, then that just went through from there. I had my, and the same thing. I had my viewing hours before I had enough. And back then it was still 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 viewing hours. So I mean, I had more quality than quantity, which I prefer personally because they're friends of yours. Watch you, take time to sit there with you and be there with you, even if they're the only one in the stream with you. That's what I really enjoy with it. I don't want to have 200 people never say anything. I'd rather have 2 or 3 people talking to each other and actually interact. Just personal thing with me. I'd rather have more of that. Again, quality over quantity.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes total sense. So let me ask you this: how do you find the balance between your work life and your creating life?
Work that gets in the way a lot. I think we
It,
can all agree with that.
100%.
But you got to pay the bills. And yeah, YouTube, and that's the same thing too. Is I've heard like I said, Farmer Klein and a couple other guys. These 56 or 60 some thousand subscribers. So these guys got a lot. DJ Goham, obviously, he's got quite a few. There's another guy I follow. He's got he just plays mostly different kinds of games, but he's got over 1 million subscribers. But he has hundreds, if not thousands, of people in his streams. But he'll sit there and he will interact with almost anybody he can. If he can't right away, he'll definitely, and the screen can be moving. Those are the kind of people I like to follow because they're keeping active with everything. And yeah, that's just those guys obviously have that as their career, but some of these other people that are still not quite that high, I think the biggest thing is too is have fun. If you're doing this as a job and you were doing it as fun before, now you just turn it into a job, and that's going to cause a little bit of effect to it. Don't push yourself, and that's again I've told several people as well because I've experienced it myself, and I mean I'm not trying to say I know everything by any means, but trying to just share some of my experiences and my things that have happened to me as well is because I mean, if you're not having fun or you're trying to push yourself to do a video or do a live stream or whatever, people are going to notice that because they can sense that, especially if they've been around for a little. That's not going to come across as the same. You're going to have a little less likes or less people interacting with it. Just enjoy it, have fun with it, and do what you like. I mean, if the biggest thing I heard was put out content that you would watch. Because if you wouldn't watch your own content, why would anybody else watch it?
Mm-hmm.
I think
Exactly.
that pretty good resonated pretty well with me too. So that's why I like doing the videos more than live streams. Live streams are great, but I like taking the time to edit some things out, cut them down a little bit, maybe throw in a little bit of something else here and there, but just do more of a storyline. And it's not a 4 or 5 hours video. It's 20 minutes, 4 or 5 hours of gameplay, and I cut it down to about 15, 20 minutes. That way it's a little bit more in depth and it's a little more people can follow it. I think. And live streams, yeah, they're great and all, but again, same thing is if somebody just pops in there for a minute or two, they're just going to be there for a minute or two because all you're doing is mowing the grass for 2 hours. But again, the content with the connection and the talking with people and the others connecting with each other, that's the whole thing with all that. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
been it's been fun. I've met some people. I can't believe this. The great thing is learning where people are from. You got people in North Europe, you got people in Germany and in the Netherlands and America, East Coast, West Coast. It's just all over the place. Canada. It's crazy how big this game and the genre is. Just the whole farm sim thing is great.
Yeah, it's got a massive footprint. That's one thing I never
Yeah,
realized when I first got into this is
I know,
you know,
right?
just how massive that farm sim spreads. It's global. It's everywhere on this planet, and I kind of realized that with like other games, like Call of Duties and things like that. You can pretty much what games are going to be around the world, like the FIFA, soccer. That's going to be
Mm-hmm.
extremely universal. Never in my wildest dreams when I first heard of Farming Simulator would I thought, wow, this is like a global thing. I would have thought, oh, this is like some kind of pop up thing, not a big deal, and how insanely wrong I was.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, and like you said too, I came in 19. They went. What was it? 12 or was there a 9 or something? There was Farm Simulator before that, quite a few years before. Like man, so they've been around for a long time. Like, how did I never hear about it?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just crazy how big of, like I said, the big of the footprint. And Farming Simulator is the dominant one too, because there's other farming type of games and they try to do it, but it's just not quite the same. They didn't take root as much as the Farming Simulator games. And the same thing, the explosion they've had in the last several years, even alone, and being a small company, I think they've done pretty well trying to keep up. Granted, there's a lot of problems and whatnot. The biggest thing that I think people don't get too, what other games can you have these kind of mods just from third parties or outside source that work together with each other?
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty hard to find. Call of Duty, I know there's a lot of mods on like Skyrim and things like that too, but the problem is most of those are made by the same type of people. or if you go to certain like Fortnite or whatnot, for instance, you get skins and whatnot, but that's all Fortnite based. It has to be their way, and they have to implement it in there. So with Farming Simulator, you got thousands of other people that are making different types of mods, and you could have the same thing, same cult, same plow, whatever, made by 3 or 4 different people, tractor even, but it's all with slightly variations, but it still works with the base game and everything else that's in there. Yeah, you can have conflicts and all that, that's for sure. But that's why it's usually the best to get them all through the mod hub, and then you get 400 and 500 and 600. Why do you think it's not working? I mean, and I
Yeah.
think also one of the biggest things too I've noticed with this game is there's a lot of farmers actually, which is really says something about the game too, because that means an actual farmer decided to say, "Hey, this is a farming game doing what I do for a living, and I want to play it." That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, and it's when you capture somebody who actually like does that, that is their means of survival, their means of living, and you're able to actually fold them into the game and like, okay, I do this for, my everyday job, and I can see that, all these kind of things really strike true. There's obviously going to be some liberties and stuff like that. There's no game ever that's going to be like, this is 100% accurate to real life. There's always going to be just some kind of little thing that's thrown in there that's going to be different. But there's so much in the world of farm sim that really kind of captures that real everyday kind of, you know story that can be told from the farming perspective.
Absolutely. And if you look at some of these farms too, there are people like Millennial Farmer, and I think there's a couple other ones that they actually have, obviously not to scale, but a smaller scale version of these actual farms. Calmsden, which I think he's got at Oak Bridge or something, I think on
Yep.
this on 25, but it's based off the actual thing. UK maps, a lot of them they're so tight because of the bushes and all, but that's how they really are over there. So I mean, the neatness, the uniqueness of how everything is, but we get the variety. We could sit in our own living room or on our PC or whatever, and literally go around the world. Rinaboo, I don't know if you remember Rinaboo from 22. Big,
Mm-hmm.
big map, but it's just so beautiful, and it's of the area that he made it for. So all these things combined with that, and like you said, it's just to being able to connect with them and actually have real life type areas, even though it's not to scale, obviously. But just it's so neat to see those things and go visit somewhere where you actually want to go, but you haven't been able to, and you could literally do it from your living room.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned previously that you have traveled to many places across this country, when you were in service. Did you enjoy the travel, or do you consider yourself more of a like somebody who wants to kind of stay close to home?
I mean, yeah, I did. I mean, I didn't go to many places, mostly just Colorado, like, or in the United States. I didn't really go overseas. I'd love to go. Germany. Well, I joined the army at Germany, Hawaii, and here were the three places in my dream sheets, Colorado. Because if I moved back here and I was 18 years old, I could probably stay with my parents to save some money, Germany and Hawaii. I mean, why not, right? I went to Seattle, so it was beautiful up there, but it rained, drizzled a lot. So definitely a different type of atmosphere there, but it is nice to travel. I do like to, and I did notice because, like I said, I went from here, so went to basic training. The first time I've been on a plane was from Denver Airport here to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and well, I can't remember the name of the town that was close to where we got off the plane there, but yeah, we got out there, and then we went to basic, hot, humid, just bad, bad, and then we were supposed to fly up to Virginia for my training. Pardon me. And then they decided to change it, and we would take a bus. So we took a bus up there to Virginia. Then training was done, and we flew from Virginia all the way over to Seattle. And the difference between the East and the West Coast is pretty amazing. Just people in between. It's interesting how just in the United States alone, how different areas just the speak, the talk, the definition of things. You get to the South, you got that Southern twang and everything, and then y'all and people say stuff like that, which I still say that's you all, not y'all, but it's just a funny. It's I get it, but it's just funny, and yeah, just a difference from it. it's pretty wild, and I mean it's interesting, and it's makes. I mean, same thing when you go overseas though too. You go to different instead of different states, it's different countries, and with all that going on, it's just kind of cool to see how different things are, and like I said, different areas and different different foods. You know, because I was in St. Louis for a little while after I got out of the army. I was they had a White Castle, and we used to go there for lunch a lot, which is not the best for your belly, unfortunately. But you used to call them belly bombers, but I mean, same thing. It's, you don't see those everywhere. We have certain things here, just like everywhere else. You know, everybody's got their own things, which is kind of neat. We just started getting some Whataburgers and some um oh, what's the other one? I can't remember the other name of another burger joint from California, In-N-Out Burger. So we just got those recently here. So it's like, and there's lines of people. I'm like, yeah, I'll wait. I'm good. I don't need it right now. And of course,
Well,
wait a couple weeks, and the line goes down. And you can try it then. So.
I will say that Whataburger, I was a big fan of it. We had one that was by me when it was actually before I moved up to Georgia, about 2010
Mhm.
ish, but it ended up closing down. But then here recently, they got bought out by a big conglomerate, and they kind of rolled back a lot of their, a lot of the things that kind of made them special. They're still good. They're still really good. I would recommend it. If you ever get a chance, I would definitely go.
Yeah,
But
and again, if it was that long of a line too, and that's and we did have a what's the donut place again? Krispy Kreme, and unfortunately that went out of business after a little while too. But man, those were so good. I mean, especially fresh. And you get them at the gas, some of the grocery store, the gas stations, stuff like that. But gas station donut's not quite the same as the actual getting it from from the place. But man, they were so something about them just melted in your mouth. It's like wow, it's so good. But
it's
little
amazing
things like
how
that.
just a little difference, like a location,
Yeah,
you can have the Krispy Kreme and like on one corner and a gas station on the other. They get it from the same place. You get it from that gas station though, it's radically different than what you would get from that shop.
yeah. Well, it's like I said about something about White Castle. You can get the frozen ones. You get them out of the freezer shelf, but yeah, it doesn't taste the same at all.
That just reminded me of a friend of mine who he was desperately trying to find White Castles because he remembered from when he was a little kid, and he
Hmm.
just so happened to find that they were making and selling the frozen White Castles and his local store, and he called me up and he's freaking out because this whole time he's like, Dave, whenever we get a chance, we got to go up to Kentucky. That's the closest one to us here. We got to go through Kentucky. We got to go through this specific part of Kentucky, and we've got to get a White Castle. I'm like, okay, I've had it before. It is what it is. It's not, you,
Yeah,
you,
exactly.
you
It's
might have
nothing
it kind of built
special,
up
but
on
it's the
your head,
stuff. Exactly. Yeah.
and he ends up taking it home, and he throws it in the microwave, and he's like, Dave, I don't know why or how I built this up in my head to be this amazingly awesome burger, but I've never had somebody experience such heartbreaking, soul crushing
Yeah.
effects I've ever seen. I felt so bad for him because he was like genuinely sad about it.
Yeah. It's a bummer to it's and that's the problem with it. There's a few oh, excuse me, got the hiccups there. There's a few things that actually aren't too bad, and I've been trying to. I kind of go back and forth the healthier and the not so healthy, and just go to like ice cream thing. I've been trying to do something recently, which I saw this recipe and I tried it out. It's not bad, but then again, I break down and go to Cold Stone and just buy the biggest thing of ice cream that I can because it's so good. Which is not cheap there either, but still, oh my god, that fresh ice cream with all this stuff in it and the waffle bowl coat thing. Oh my gosh. But I digress. But but no, I started doing this. It's actually cottage cheese ice cream, which is interesting. If you think about it, it's still milk, so it's kind of the same scenario. But you put cottage cheese and you blend it, obviously really good. Put some honey and a few other ingredients that I was kind of tweaking with. So you got a food processor, obviously chop it up pretty well, and then I throw it in the freezer and I put some cocoa powder, some little or mostly honey for in there. So it's a lot healthier because it's not that just degraded sugar down to your, and all
Mm-hmm.
the heavy cream for the milk stuff. So put it in the freezer and let it set up, and man, it's really not too bad. But again, it's not the ice cream, but it definitely satisfies. And it's got the cottage cheese, so it's got the protein, so it gives you a little bit of a filling too. So,
I have
but
heard of that, and it's one of those where I've considered trying it. It's like, but my wife, actually, it was my sister-in-law. She ended up getting us one of those Ninja Creamies. You ever heard of
oh
those?
yeah,
And
it sounds familiar. Those
it was
ninja
bit,
things aren't cheap either.
no, I forget why she got it, but she ended up just buying it for us on a whim, and
That's cool.
yeah, it was a really cool little surprise. And she ends up, it's like, oh, you got to try this recipe, and it's basically those Jello packets, but it's the cheesecake Jello, the sugar free,
Oh,
and you take that with a little bit
oh
of
yeah, yeah.
almond milk and
Hmm.
like some you can put in like strawberries or like frozen strawberries, things like that, and then you just kind of whip it all together and you get like strawberry cheesecake or you get any kind of other flavors, and it's pretty legit.
Yeah, it's funny you think you said almond milk. I've actually made almond milk before. It's a little tougher than it looks, but basically you just chop up a bunch of almonds, soak them in some water, and squeeze the water out. It's just that's it. It's almond milk. It's a
I've
bit of a
done the
pain in
same
that
thing.
butt, and it gets a little messy. Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. Eh, Yeah, I've tried to cut the middleman out several times, but sometimes, like, you know what? It's just easier to go. With the bread, I have no problem with that. The bread is not the, bleached stuff like that. I just talked to my one of my nieces, and her and her husband, but well, she does the sourdough starters and stuff like that. She sells them for a few bucks. I'm like, whoop, let me know. I'll come by and get one because I try to start one myself, and I don't think I did it right. So I was like, well, she's got them already ready to go, so I can do that. Because something about sourdough bread is just, and the stuff in the side that all the different because it's sour, obviously fermented a little bit, so all the cultures and everything, and they're actually better for your diet too, which is great. And I love the smell and the taste, which is
Yeah.
funny because it's kind of fermented a little bit, but yet I don't like blue cheese, which is fermented cheese because it's just all about that blue cheese. Just I don't like that tang, and plus it looks at me weird. So
Yeah, my wife, she's done that sourdough before, and yeah, it's awesome. Like there's nothing better than a fresh. I mean, nothing better than just fresh bread.
oh
Period. That
yeah,
that smell that wafts throughout
yeah,
the
you don't
entire home.
exactly. You don't have that bleachedness. You don't have the extra this, extra that. And I'll try and put sea salt in things like I did with the ice cream thing too. I think a little too much the last time I did, but it's just on the borderline of it. But yeah, I put a little bit in the on like a little honey and stuff too. So you get a little. And the cool thing with making it yourself, you could put so many different too, like in there sourdough. You can put some raisins in there if you want some raisin bread. You whatever makes it so much better.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. So let me ask you this: going back to your travels and whatnot, if money was no object, where would be your ideal travel spot to go to?
Germany.
Germany. Okay. Any
I
particular
don't
reason?
know. It's just just the cool old stuff. Well, technically, my last name I is originated on the German-Austrian border, so I'd definitely like to go check out the motherland, basically whatever. But just from what I've heard and the visuals, I mean, not that's my main place, but I'd love to go check out other places. Like all these places where you look biblically how where we started, pretty much. Because you go to the East Coast here, yes, it's old stuff. America's got some old stuff on the East Coast, but it's nothing compared to you go overseas to where most of humankind has actually started. That's it. Just some of the things are just so old. Old castles. I love old castles. So that's another reason with Germany that they're pretty well known for the castle. It's really cool to see all that old stuff and the food. Oktoberfest would be amazing to go to. Don't know if I can
Oh,
hang with them because they're I not drink. But yeah, that'd be just so cool to see a big party of Oktoberfest, have some bratwurst and a bunch of beers, and it'd be so cool.
oh yeah, no, that I can completely understand there. So tell us, what's one thing that people are generally surprised to find out about you?
I'm not as goofy all the time as I can be, I guess. I mean, I goof around and like to have fun and joke around about things. I don't. I'm not the brightest tool in the shed, and absolutely not. But I'm a little smarter than some people think, in some degrees. I don't. I'm not brilliant, but especially when I talk about how to do code and how to to school for programming a little bit, and people are like, wait, you don't do that? Yeah, actually, I can read the code pretty well once if it gets in there, but little things like that. And actually, I found out you know, I had to go to the doctor not too long ago, and they actually found I do have a heart too, which is pretty. So instead of just being a smarty pants all the time, I can be nice.
So, tell us, what would you consider to be one of your biggest fears?
Well, honestly, there's not as much biggest. I think if anybody really think about it is, hmm, it's a good question, honestly, but I don't have. I don't know. It's the biggest fear I would say more or less would be obviously just like anybody would probably bring up is the fear of death. Just the end of life. But we're all going to do it anyway. It's a fact. It's funny how that turns out. We're all born to die, but we don't think about it until we get close to it. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, I don't want to do that." Well, it's going to happen. It's not. Nobody's ever defeated it, unless you go biblical. Then but that's a whole other ball of wax there. So,
Hmm.
and I think the biggest thing with that too, as long as you believe and you understand and you have faith of where you believe you're going to be going, then yeah, again, everybody does it. So you just have to believe and accept the fact that where you're going to go or what's going to happen. In some degree, I think I believe in somewhat of a reincarnation, not to go fully off of the biblical status, but there's certain times when, I think any of us, there's been something we've seen there, and I swear I've seen that before. No, that was the first time you've been there, but something in the past have obviously brought to your mind, and why did you know about that? You've never been there before. It happened to me when I was a kid. My parents like, we've never been here before. It's the first time here. And I even could explain certain things of this area, and they're like, it's not. But it was a ghost town. There was nobody there, so it's pretty.
Oh, wow. Hmm. So, let me ask you this. Do you consume other content besides that from the farm sim community?
Is my mic cutting in and out? I just saw dust mites.
Uh, I thought I was hearing something coming in and out with the mic there. Yes.
Okay, let me go. Sometimes if I just have to go back, cut out and come back in. So I just saw that. Let me go ahead and disconnect and come back real quick. It'll be just a second.
Okay.
Sorry about that. For some reason my Discord does that every once in a while. That
Gotcha.
just happened. I have two monitors set up. I got my big, nice widescreen monitor for my gameplay, and then I have a smaller monitor just to the left of it so I can read chat and stuff and live streams. So I usually pay attention, especially if I'm not playing a game. I'm just got your channel up and I see the chat going on. So I happen to see that right away. So I thought I'd check. If it does happen again, just let me know. It's stupid. I don't know what it is. I have nothing else open but your thing there. But for some reason Discord will hiccup on me every once in a while. I have to back out and come back in. But
Huh. That's very odd.
I know, right? It's just Discord. It's so weird. And especially like my buddies, when I play Call of Duty with them, once I close out Call of Duty, they're like, hey, your mic's cutting it out. Go back out, come back in, and it's fine the rest of the night. It's really weird.
Yeah. No, it's sounding good. So let me ask you this: like I was saying, do you consume any other content besides those within the farming simulator community?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, well, like I said before, I was working with, playing games with Farmer Klein and a few of the other guys that were Schultz modding and a couple other guys that were in the streams. We did some ATS streams and things like that on this channel. And then we decided, especially what he was mostly obviously because he's got a lot more subscribers than I do, but you start seeing farming simulator is a farming simulator community. So you play a different game, or just like any other kind of games too. If you start playing something different, especially if that's been your goal the whole most of the time is having one type of gameplay, and you change it up, a lot of people do back out though, unfortunately. But with that too, they have it's why I like to go to. We started the second channel there, so I play Call of Duty and some Fortnite over there. I'm trying to get back into it, and especially I got my own place now. I just haven't hooked up with the guys again, but I just Farmer Klein was streaming tonight and went over there. I've been on his channel for 4 years now. I was like, holy cow, it's been that long. He's like, yeah, you
Wow.
need to come back around and play with us some more because they do ATS on Sunday nights and then Friday nights we do Wreckfest usually. So I'm like, man, I need to get back into something like that again. And that'll be on this other channel. But again, most of it started off like you were saying. I played a pretty good variety of games. Played Fortnite with my buddies quite a bit. Played some Call of Duty. When I saw the Farm Sim came up, I jumped on that quite a bit, and that's where this channel, my Farming Sim channel, really took off. And then going to the other channel, I do try and play some other games and work on some varieties there. But
Yeah.
it's Red Dead Redemption's another one I just played with Nacho. We did some online yesterday because I've been trying to get. I played it online when it first came out. And it was trash. It was so hard to do. People were just killing everybody, and they were just being jerks on it. But now it's a little bit better. I did have somebody just come into town and start being jerks on it, but it was all it's good fun. I mean, it's one of those things. I do like to play a different. Farming Simulator started it all, and that's definitely such a good game. Again, it comes to the point of simulations. It does take a lot longer for a simulator game. So if you want to take the time to play it and you're okay with it, then that's great. But remember, again, it's one of those things that it's going to take some time. So if you just want to go like Call of Duty, yeah, it takes a little bit of time too, but you're looking at about 20 minutes or so per round because if you're doing if you're doing the Warzone stuff because it's storm based, same with Fortnite, roughly depending. So it cycles through a little faster, but it's also doing the same thing over and over and over again. So Farming Simulator's got so many maps and so many different areas, so many different equipment, there's so much to do and so many different things to see, so many different places to go. And I didn't really care for No Man's Land originally. I like Calm's Land and like some of the other maps that come up that you can go to and you can't take all the stuff off of because it's designed to be that way.
Hmm.
Um what was that? Riverview, I think is it it's another one that came out with a Cavalry Roy. He just brought another one back recently. I can't remember what it was now. I don't have the top of my head for some reason. But
Maypole Farm.
yeah, Maypole. I did a series on that too. But if you look at the sheep pens too, they make. I think I'm about bringing another series back on that one because such a neat thing. And the sheep pens are like 500 sheep each instead of. And that's another thing with chickens. I never like the chicken bins if they're only 10 or 20 of them because you're not getting much out of that. Got to be at least about 100 or more chickens because then you can actually get the eggs out of them.
Yeah. No,
So and
that's it exactly. It takes so long if you've only
yeah,
got like
yeah,
10, 20 chickens to
it
get
does.
even a quarter of a
Yeah,
pallet. It'll take you a year before you even start seeing any sort of pallets coming up, and yeah, it's no fun.
exactly.
It's no fun.
And like the
You
horses, I remember in 19, you get the horse, you get the baby horse, what, $500 or something like that. And you build it up, you feed it, ride it every day. Then you can sell it for what, 50,000, I think it was. So it's a really good investment on that level. But they're not the same nowadays. It's still nice to jump on a horse and ride around to get away from vehicles and whatnot. And the way they did them are really cool. But yeah, it's just they're more just decoration and pets, which is cool. I mean, it's neat to see different things. Pigs is one of them I've never really got into a whole lot unless they got certain pig food you can do because you have to mix so many things or
hmm
buy pig food specifically. I mean, you can make some money off because they reproduce like crazy, but
Oh yeah, yeah. It's pigs are one of those where you really have to be able to one invest the time because if you're going to make the food yourself it takes so much time to get into it,
mm,
but then once you get into it it's a big money maker because like you said they just
yeah,
reproduce like crazy.
exactly. And the same thing with the you know, if you do if you grow all the crops for them, you what 5 or 6 because you have to have a root crop, a grain, uh, like either sunflower or soybean, some protein, and then the corn. So you got like 4 or 5 different. So you have to have at least those different fields to grow all that stuff differently, and they're
Hmm.
different harvest dates and seed times. So it does. But again, like you said, once you get a routine going on, it definitely can add up. And they don't need as much for the root crops. If you do a small enough field for them and you just keep cycling through, you don't need a whole lot of that anyway. It's the least amount. But yeah, you start learning more and more. And of course, different maps have different needs and different whatevers. But and yeah, and I never liked the build your own stuff maps at first. Ideally on 19, I liked the big huge maps. I think American Life Farming, one of the Lance Boy ones, was one of my favorites because it was a big map, big fields. It was a newer one towards the end of 19, and it was a lot of fun playing around that just because of the big fields and all. And then 22 came out, and they put in the rolling and the. I always turn off the field stones, just personal thing, because I don't see a purpose for it. I don't mind plowing, I don't mind weeds, I don't mind anything else, but the stones you have to pull them up. You can't get anything now. If you get enough stones where you can take them and get some lime, a good amount of lime for them, that's not bad because you can actually just keep on reproducing what you had. But you get so little lime for those stones, it's not worth it. Pardon me, excuse me, to me at least, but that's my own personal thing too.
Oh,
But
for
it's
sure.
funny how
So,
when you start playing, you start getting your own little niche and your little things. I this way, this way, this way. So you go in there and click, 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 everything right away, hit all the buttons.
no, absolutely. It's funny in how the game itself is so universal to everybody's play style. If you don't like to pick stones and get them up and utilize them for something else, you don't have to. You can just turn it off. If you don't want to play realistic, well, I mean, you got the Lizard Colossus. You can go run around it and just tear up
Mhm.
the whole map in. It's wild in how pretty much this game can be utilized by any player out there.
Yeah, definitely. It is very versatile, and I think I feel bad for the PS4 and the Xbox One, the old console players because they can't play 25 right now because of the change. Now, for those that do have them, it's kind of nice because the graphics and everything else is there. It's not as limited feeling because and you don't and the same with uh the disk space basically or your mod space, so you don't have to be as stuck with certain things like that because it used to be a certain amount and then now it's a little higher in the newer consoles. Then obviously PC you're basically limited to whatever your PlayStation or your PC can hold. But yeah, it's interesting how the different things and you could do the same mod, the same thing, same stuff, and just edit things you get them on the PlayStation and or the console and on the PC. It's just crazy how big a difference can be.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you could meet any three people, who would they be and why? Could be from history, could be current, just any three people. Who would they be?
This BDD guy would be kind of cool to me. No, there's,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
hear he's a pretty cool guy.
yeah, it's not what some. No, I'm joking. Yeah, it's one of those things that I mean, ideally, it'd be really cool to meet some old people, like George Washington. Abraham Lincoln would be cool to meet from back in the day. I mean, I know Bill and Ted met them, brought them back, but it'd be neat to see something like that. A tall, genuine guy back in, it would be cool to go back in history, back to those days, to see what it was like, see how different the government, how different things were. I don't care about certain other things that we try to stay away from. Obviously, that changed quite a bit of history, but it's if you really think about certain things, we all have our own things. It's kind of crazy how it works out. Abraham Lincoln, George Washington would be cool. I mean, I would like to go, and I'd love to go over to Germany and actually see the giants. Meet all the people there. Oh gosh, what's his name? Not the guy just went over there. He went and moved to Chicago. He was actually from Denver. He lived out in Denver here. What the heck is his name now? No, it's not Frog. What the heck is his name? I can't think of his name right off the top of my head for some reason. But he just went to the marketing a couple of years ago, I think it was. But he was actually lives here in Colorado and then moved out to Chicago to do the. I cannot remember what the heck his name was now right off the top of my head. But just some of the people that I've met and talked to, or people that we talked to. I mean, DJ Goham obviously would be cool to hang out and Clutch Simulations. He has a whole thing. Some of these people that have been around for a little while have done this. Mr. CDP would be awesome to meet. Especially the way he talks. I don't know, a lot of people know who he is, but I think he does a great job, especially talking with his mods and his videos because he was a teacher before, so he can explain things in certain ways that just some people go, "Oh, there it is." And he actually can get a little more details, a little more to it. And is it the way he talks, a little accent, a little British accent, and it's pretty cool to see some people that are that down to earth.
Oh yeah, no, and you picked out some real good ones there. I absolutely give you all that. So I've got one last question for this segment here, and it is, what was your first job?
First job back when I was a teenage boy, so it was a long time ago. he My first job was I was working at a was it the barbecue? Yeah, it was this barbecue place. It was a restaurant. I was basically, in dishwasher, so I was just washing dishes and all. And was in the back one time and flipping dishes around and putting glasses in a thing, so getting faster. I actually clicked two glasses together and broke them. And if actually my left pinky finger sliced on the outside basically from the nail straight down, you could see it. I could open it up so it cut it pretty clean through. And it's amazing how a clean cut doesn't really hurt at first, but
Mm-hmm.
after a little while, it starts to hurt. But I had 4 stitches right on the end of my pinky there, or the side of my pinky, which is quite a bit for a pinky, obviously.
Yeah, that
But
sounds like one pretty
yeah,
big cut. Whew.
it was definitely not a fun one. But same thing. It's stitches in there, and when we're younger, it seems that we could heal quicker. Older and
Mm-hmm.
getting, I'm like, man, why is that still hurting? That was like 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah, no, I hear you there. Absolutely. But like I said, that was my last question there. So I'm now going to turn to the audience and see what they have to ask you. So I
Oh,
first want to give a big shout out and thank you to Dust Bunny. Dust Bunny, thank you so very much for gathering all these up and sending them over my way. So starting out with question from Rob from Dust Bunny says, where do you see your channel going in the next 5 to 10 years?
I hope it's not going anywhere, but I can't drive, doesn't have a license. um, Ideally, I think like I don't know if we talked to it on here. I know we talked a little before that. If I can get to a subscriber count to a certain level where I could become a Giants partner, I always thought that would be kind of cool. It's kind of another reason why I separated other games away from this one channel originally, because I want to make sure I keep this right kind of content and keep the right kind of people, obviously, in the same scenario. So ideally, it would be nice to become a Giants partner. I don't expect to get 40, 50,000 or whatever subs, just enough to get through. And again, try and have fun and make content that I enjoy doing.
Gotcha, gotcha. Got a question here from Miss Lisa. Lisa asks, "What do you think, or what do you like to plant, and why?"
Trying to think of the right answer or the smarty pants answer, but honestly, I think well, see, the grass is pretty basic. So the biggest thing I like about the grass, especially on some of the newer maps that have alfalfa and clover, the visuals are pretty stimulating. It's really nice. But the grass part with those, I do like the fact that they are residual. You just plant it once pretty much and you don't have to worry about it. Obviously lime and fertilizer, but it just basically keeps growing, growing. But I like the visuals of the canola is really nice too. Right before it gets harvested, the yellow flowers on top of it. Sorghum's really cool, the little red colors to them. So they all have their own little quirks like that, I think. But the best, easiest one to plant and forget about is probably the grass.
Gotcha, gotcha. Let's see. I got a couple of questions here from the herd. Oh, and Lisa, thank you so much for your question. Greatly appreciate it. Also, Dust Bunny, thank you for yours. The herd asks, ask him how many chickens he thinks it would take to overpower an elephant.
Hmm. Probably just one that freaks out the elephant enough. It's like mice. The story of the mice and elephant, because the elephant freaks out about a mouse, which is probably one of the smallest animals compared to the biggest animal. But other than that, it depends on how many pecks it needs, because it can those peckers those beaks. There you go. That came out wrong.
I don't know why, but when I saw that question, I immediately started just breaking up into hysterics
Yeah.
because I recently just saw something on YouTube, and it's an Australian YouTuber who basically goes over all these different animals over in Australia, and basically how Australia is a land that is purpose driven to try and end you in the most horrific
Yeah, no
way
kidding.
that you could
Yeah.
possibly end it.
Everything's
Um,
poisonous over there.
Everything's poisonous, everything's bigger than you, everything wants to just cause you harm in some unbelievable way. But he posed a question, and it was, which would win in a fight, a gorilla or 100 humans? And I don't know why, but it just reminded me of that. And
Yeah.
he kept going into all the details, like, a gorilla can, do X amount more than a human. They can basically be like 4, 5, 6 times as strong as a single human, all this stuff. But then he's like, but it's 100 humans. Come on. I mean, you just gang up on them after the first two, three, four people decide that they're going to go solo leveling. And yeah, no. Eventually, you just overpower it. But I don't know why. It
Yeah,
just
especially wears
reminded
out.
me of that.
Yeah, no, it's funny because you say that too. And I watched something. People don't think about what's actually more dangerous in jungles and places. It's actually hippos. Hippos are evil.
Oh yeah, no,
If you look at
hippos
it's
are
like
the
holy cow.
worst.
And they don't look like it. They're like, oh, look at the hippo, man. That thing charge and rip your face off.
Oh,
I saw something where there was an alligator or a crocodile or whatever, same thing. It was flipping a baby. I don't know if it killed it or not, but it caught a baby and it was flipping and then the rest of the hippos came around and they just messed that alligator up. I'm like, oh
mm-hmm.
dang. And they wouldn't let it out. They circled it and were just stomping and trashing that thing in the water and throwing it out. And I'm like, oh wow. So it's pretty amazing, especially with family stuff like that too, with how they protect their own.
Oh yeah, and what's wild about hippos is you look at them and you think, oh, well, that's a monster creature. If I'm on land, I'm fine. I can outrun that thing easy. Nope. Nope,
Yeah.
that thing will run you down in a heartbeat. It is a large tank that can move like the wind. Ugh, scary. Just scary.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the same thing like with bears and things like that. You think
Mm-hmm.
you can climb a tree, but guess what they can do? Climb the tree.
Mm-hmm. Climb right after you.
Oh, Miss Dust Bunny's trying to be a smarty pants there, but she can't even spell.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
She said alligators and crocs are two, as in two different animals. Two, as in the number two, is what it should be. Sorry, I'm just being a smarty pants back. So,
The herd also asks, how many mashed potatoes would it take to fill the Grand Canyon?
oof. Depends on what you call in the Grand Canyon. If you're talking about the belly, probably one or two would be really. I think two mashed potatoes full mashed would fill up my Grand Canyon. If I have other stuff, because if it's just a side, but other than that, yeah, that would take a lot.
Oh yeah. I'm thinking Idaho doesn't produce enough potatoes for that.
Yeah, or the whole state of Idaho, maybe. But then again, it all depends on what part of the Grand Canyon you're talking about. The whole Grand Canyon, because it goes through a few states as well. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's see. The herd, thank you so much for your questions. Greatly, greatly appreciated them.
That's the
We
nice
got.
thing is having some serious and some kind of off. It makes it a little more interactive. I like that stuff. It's kind of cool to me.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I love a good sense of humor.
Yeah, exactly.
We got one from Gold Gaming Gold. Thank you so much for your question. Says, what streamer got you into wanting to try streaming yourself?
I think it was I said Farmer Klein was the one of the bigger influences I stuck around for the most, but Mr. CDP, especially being on console, he was watching him do his things. DJ Goham was the mod guy, so seeing what mods were on there and the videos, because he just did videos. Mr. CDP, well, he did mostly video. He didn't stream really. So I guess when it comes to streaming, yeah, I think Farmer Klein would be the one that, because he streams all the time and was doing most of it. Other than that, like I said, the gentleman at work that told me to actually start the YouTube channel, I owe him quite a bit for actually pushing me to tell him, hey, go ahead and start one. And And unfortunately, I passed him on subscribers. I wasn't trying to do it, but it's a different niche. He's got comic books and things like that, and it's still fun to watch some of those as well. But um, yeah, for content creating, TJ Goham and Mr. CVP were the main ones on that, and then for actual live streams, Farmer Klein, just because of watching him do his stuff. Clutch
Gotcha.
Simulation's another one too, but that guy's got like it's like watching a movie or something. The way I don't know if you watched his, he just really has a lot of background stuff, which is cool for interaction, but it's a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. It almost almost overwhelming.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to watch though because
Oh yeah,
it's a production. It's more like a Broadway play instead of just a live stream.
exactly, exactly. Gold Gaming also asked, "What is your favorite farming simulator version and map of all time?" So let's start with
Well,
the
I've
first half
said
of that question. What's your favorite
yeah.
farm sim version?
So far 25. Obviously with the visuals and the things. Yes, there's some things that I mean. I think with some of the guys were talking about yesterday, mentioning the tornadoes and how they really don't do nothing. It's neat to see the options in there. Yes, there could be a little more depth to them, but the way the field, especially the same thing with the GPS stuff put into 25 as base game, is really cool. I do have an issue with the biggest problem I have right now though is precision farming. When you go look at fields, some of that covers up your numbers, and it's kind of annoying. But other than that, yeah, I think 25, 22 for the visuals and the whole grain, everything, the stability now. Yes, 25 because of all the new stuff for the newest versions and this and that. So with those things, I think 25 will get better, obviously, as things progress, just like any of the other ones do. Because anything comes out brand new, it's going to take a little time to tweak a few things. But
Absolutely,
and
hundred
what
percent.
was the other one? The other one that was the map you said or something? Or
Uh, favorite map of all time?
that's a hard one. There's so many good ones out there. I still think some of my favorites ones were the smaller ones, like Old Stream Farm was awesome. Black Sheep Modding.
Great one. Yep.
Furlong, honestly, I really enjoyed that map. It's small, it's tight, but the visuals and the feel of the map was just amazing. That one's one of my all time favorites. Like I said, Old Stream Farm. Also, what's the other one I'm thinking of? And you know, No Man's Land was kind of fun to build things. I never got into it a whole lot, but I did get into. Uh, I did do a series where I did that and actually made like a monster truck little area. So that was kind of fun. But again, at first I was just trying to learn the farming, trying to get into farming stuff, get more things done with that. And then yeah, just I think Furling, sorry, best buddy's trying to correct me again on that one. Furling is still one of the just like I said, it's weird because 19 and 20 I like the or 22 I changed it a little bit. I like the big maps, big fields, big everything, and this and 22 and then 25 now too. I do like some of the small 25. I'm playing on the some 4x ones too, which is nice to have the bigger fields. Like the Judith Plains is actually pretty nicely done. I like the fact it's 4x, but yet it's not so huge. The fields aren't so huge where it's almost overwhelming for especially for smaller equipment. Feels comfortable, but yeah, there's and again. I think one of the most interactive maps of all times, and I will still say that because it's the only one that's I like it is Hoff Bergman. And that one is just so much that goes on. He keeps adding more and more to visual wise now. Also, sorry, I just thought of another one was the Italian maps.
Okay.
Those were amazing. Those were beautiful. Again, it's PC only ones, but the Italian maps had the grapes, and obviously more Italian, but the visuals, the stunning, when you're up on top of the hill where the main house is at, just amazing. It's just too many to. It's hard to say which ones, but depending on what you're looking for, really. I mean, That's the nice thing about it. There's a little bit of something for everybody or everything.
Oh, 100%. And we got one more from Gold Gaming, and I think this one is probably the most important question I think I've ever heard any one person ask another, and I am quite genuinely curious about it myself. He asks, "What is a honk a tootie?"
A Punkatootie.
Honk a tootie. HONK hyphen A hyphen TOOTIE.
Punk Ho Tootie? Wow. Sounds like something Disney came up with.
It's something. It's definitely something. I don't know. I don't know. I've never heard of such a thing.
Yeah, honestly, it could probably be some type of
It could be the little linkage that you get behind your 3-point link, to hook up your trailers and keep the axle up off the off the rear of the tractor.
a little PTO thing, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Gold, thank you so much for your questions. I greatly appreciate them. We got one from Brady Rimmer Productions. Brady, thank you so much for your question. Says, what is your top 3 favorite farm sim maps? I mean, we basically answered that with Gold Gaming. So, Brady, thank you so much for your question there. Let's see. We got more from Dustman. He says, "What do you like What do you like to do the best? Live streams, videos, and why? Or videos and why?"
Yeah, I mean, like we talked a little bit too, is I do like live streaming. It is kind of nice to have interaction. Again, Farming Simulator, some of these games are a little easier to live stream and keep up with chat because you can stop with them. If you're doing like a Call of Duty or ATS or something, I mean, if you look at some of my old ATS videos, you'll see me crashing and stuff all the time because I'm looking at chat, trying to talk to you. Oh, there's a building or a car or whatever it is. So I do like the live stream to some degree, but unfortunately, I don't. I think it might just be me because there's so many people that are, and I've mentioned it before to some others. I think that it's just seems to get bored. Like I said, if you're mowing the grass for 2 hours straight, pretty much because that's what you were doing on that, it just takes a little longer, and it can get boring to some people. Again, Farming Simulator is a different ball of wax altogether because most people are there for those type of things, but I do like doing the videos personally because I like to do something, especially if I have a series that I know that I wanted to come up with. This I was just I did something for I don't even know why it came. Oh, for 22, you know how Stone Valley he had the basically the stuff was in the middle of the field. If you start off a new farmer, like the farmer just up and left.
Yep.
I did something with that where I took Stone Valley, I bounced between Stone Valley and gosh, now I can't remember the other map. they're both they're both his maps though. They're both the
American Falls.
yeah, American Falls. Yeah, they were both Nancy Boy maps. So, but what I would do, I don't know why. I think American Falls because it was just one of the newer ones at the time, and then Stone Valley because of that stuff left there. I started doing. You know what? Let me do. I mean, I just like using my imagination some. So that's why I like doing the videos, the content creating that way. I can make a video, do some certain things, edit some stuff, and then go back and tweak it. And also with the software, so much software out there nowadays. I use the what is this one here? It's the it is right off the top of my head now. DaVinci Resolve because you for free there's so many things you can edit and change and move around and so I'll take those and you can actually put different transitions and make some different things. But I made like a kind of like remember that X Files stuff? I made a FS files, FarmSim files, basically. So it's kind of because of that because there's nobody there, so I made it like a little alien thing, and I was and I was goofing around. But Dust Bunny was giving me a hard time about some of it because she was watching the series, but it's kind of fun. It's something, and that's what I like to do. It's like some of the stuff I'm doing now too. I'm trying to make, like the newest series I got. One of the newest. Well, I'm trying to get back to doing more of them too. But my biggest problem was I was roommates for a while, so they were so loud and yelling at each other stuff. So I didn't do as much content creating. So the last couple of years was kind of hit or miss. So I'm trying to get back into it again because I don't have all that noise now, which is awesome. But um But yeah, so New Frontier, actually, that map. So try to do something where I can make it kind of what I really want from my homestead. Because I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, you know what? I'm just getting into this thing. Let me try and think about doing this the way I want to have my own homestead. Some uh, did a couple of the greenhouses and a couple of feet. Try and make it like let me see if I could do something to make it kind of something I would like to have in real life, maybe. So little things like that. I just like doing the creating and editing like that because if I screw something up or if something happens, I could always cut it out or or delete it and redo it. Live stream is pretty much that's it. There it is. Have fun with
Hmm.
that.
Oh yeah, that's the thing is live streams. They're seeing you warts and all. There's no
Yeah,
covering your mistakes. There's no nothing. You can sit there and edit a normal bit of video content until the cows come home and make
yeah,
yourself look as good or as bad as you want to. But no, live stream, it's raw.
yeah. And I mean, it again. It has its own things too. I just like prefer. And honestly, I get nervous every time, especially live stream. I don't know why. I just like, oh yeah, even if it's just my friends in there, it's still one of those things that it just kind of makes me nervous for some reason. But so some of those things just come up. Just interesting how that works out. But
Oh, for certain. So we got another question from Lisa. It says, "What is your favorite time of day and why?"
well, usually it's late at night, early morning because I'm sleeping. But I kind of sleep's nice. But honestly, I like the morning times. I like getting up. Depends on the time of the day and or if I'm off. Especially when I get a chance to go outside into the garden. If it's the morning time, something about it, just like with farm sims. The mornings in the farm sim game, when you get that little bit of cloud kind of lingering in that valley, it just brings back some memories and it's like, wow, I love doing that, especially when I'm at my parents' house. Like I said, they live in the mountains, so they have 5 acres, the house built and everything. Getting up in the morning and seeing that and the fresh dew coming off, especially right wintertime, if you got the snow or even spring or fall right after a good rain at night too, the dew that comes off of that. Something about it's just beautiful. I don't like the night as much anymore because I don't like to drive at night. I used to be okay with the night, but now trying to drive at night, I just don't like it. Especially if I'm trying to look for something, I don't like to get out at nighttime much at all. It's funny how when you get older, that stuff happens to you.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, for certain. So we got another one from, or we got one from Rambo Hacker Gaming. Rambo, thank you so much for your question. Says, is it odd that my mod folder always averages 800 to 2,500 mods with no errors or issues?
Again, like we talked about before, if you have the right kind of mods, the mods that don't connect or clash with each other, it's actually, well, that's a lot of mods, but it's that's what I like about the game too, is you can get mods, and I'm sure they're not obviously not from the same modder, otherwise that would be a lot for one person to make. But the cool thing about them is they can actually mesh pretty well together, and always a good thing to see that.
I gotcha. And then we've got one from Gaming with JJ. Gaming with JJ, thank you so much for your question. Says, came in a few minutes late, might have missed it, but what has been your favorite place you've ever visited?
Hmm. Favorite place I've ever visited, in game or off game? Because in
Uh,
game there's several ways, but I mean, like I said, I would love to go overseas to see something. I've never been anywhere, but uh, there's so many beautiful places around. I do like Colorado. That's another reason why I love staying here. There's so much to do here. There's so many places to go. Just going up and seeing some of the old ghost towns. You're talking about old mining towns from the 18, 1700, or mostly 1800s and further back, and it's just so cool to see. And I like the history of things like that. I have something about history I really enjoy, especially when I'm looking at, like I said, go up to these ghost towns. You think about it. These people are up in the mountains where there's snow, and a lot of snow. where they didn't have the heat and the big thick clothing and the stuff like we have nowadays, but they survived. They lived, and in some of these ghost towns that they rebuilt, they have some of the houses. They are tiny. And I mean, like I said before, I'm 6'3", and I could barely fit in there standing up because they were so much smaller back then. And it's just amazing to see some of these things and how they do, how they look and all that. So that the best place I would say probably anywhere in the mountains. I'm thankful that my parents got divorced when I was young, unfortunately, but our dad got custody because he had the better job and he worked at Hewlett Packard and everything. But we'd go on vacation like every year. We'd take like 2 weeks, and a lot of we'd go to different states periodically, but a lot of our time was just going to the mountains, going camping on the weekends or whatever, long weekend or whatever. So we did a lot of time in the mountains. So now that I'm older, I love going back to old places and checking them out and seeing what it's like, and just the feel of being in the mountains is something about it. It's just it feels fresher, the air alone, because you're higher altitude, and being in the coolness and the feel and the pines, and just something about it just really makes you feel alive. Alive. I enjoy that, so yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can see it. I've been through Colorado one time. It was in the Denver airport, and that was about it. But certainly wish that I was able to spend a little bit of extra time out there because it was pretty.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Lisa asks, "What do you like to plant in real life and why?"
I like to plant in real life. Well, it depends on what I'm trying to get out of it, but honestly, I went kind of crazy. First time I had a garden to myself. I mean, I've helped with your kids and all that. So I put in so many different things. I got these garden beds I put in myself. I did a whole lot of stuff. I really enjoyed doing it, even though it's a rental property. I talked to the landlord. We discussed some things, and he's reimbursing for some things and whatnot. But so I went a little far on. I put, let's see. I put tomatoes. I put carrots. I put garlic from the store, separated them out, put each one of those in there, and they're all growing in the garden. I, so much YouTube learning, that's for sure. I put onions in there. I put some Brussels sprouts. I got cucumbers. I got lettuce. Corn. I put in radishes. Radishes are just going crazy. I can't believe how fast those guys are growing. But that one crop especially. You don't really hear a lot of people doing it though. It's one that I remember doing when we were growing up, and I like the taste of a radish, a good ripe radish. You get that little bite to it, but it's something about it just tastes pretty good, but it's not as popular as things. I got some peas. I put up a little trellis thing and put some peas that go in. So yeah, I got so many things growing, but I would like to do some grains though. I definitely would like to try something like that, but it'd be nice to have a little more space to be able to do that in, because I mean, something like that, you put in like a 2 foot by 2 foot thing of grains, you're not going to get much out of that.
I gotcha.
But yeah,
And
I think,
then
yeah,
let's see. Again, Lisa, Gaming with JJ, Rainbow Hacker. Everybody, thank you so much for your questions. We got one from Ken Adlam. Ken, thank you for your question. Says, "What's the best map you've ever played on?"
the best farm sim map I've ever played on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think, see, that's it. Like further, like I said, White Farm was another really good one too. Man, there's so many good ones that I can't think of.
It's a
I think,
really hard question because
yeah.
it's even when you narrow it down to even a single
Hmm.
farm sims, it's there's so many out there and there's so many good ones.
Yeah, I mean, with Farm Sim 25, even there's less now, but they're starting to build up again too. I think one of the best ones to build your own that I had fun with too was um, Western Wilds from Alien Gym. Was the best thing with that one too is trying to build. Was trying to build up that that farm area that you could kind of build. I really had some other ideas I was really wanting to do with it, but that center area there where the little town type where the little house and stuff was at, there's some things you can make in there would be pretty cool too. But so I mean, it was a little bit flat compared to which I prefer the hilly ones. Now they did have a Colorado. I was wondering why they didn't. They did have a Colorado map that came out, and I mean, obviously it's whatever, but somebody made a Colorado map towards the end of 22. Well, right before 25 came out. I can't say the end of 22 because 22 is still out, but and I did a series on that one too, especially since it was Colorado. And the actual map maker came in there several times and mentioned a few things, and I was like, that's so cool. So, um, biggest map ever that I played on that I thought was pretty wild was Wild. I think it was Wild West, but it was a 16x.
Oh
It
wow.
was huge. It was huge, and that was Kaz 64 that did that one. Shane Kaz Tate 64. So Kaz 64 is actually really cool guy too. He's coming to some of my videos that I did, and he's asked me, hey, if you want to do some checking out some new or do some beta testing, let me know. I'm like, what? That'd be great. And if you look at some of them, it's kind of funny. If you go back to 22 or 19 even, some of 19, but most of 22, he asked several of us from his Facebook page. He said, hey, do you guys want to put your logo in the map? Like, yeah, sure. So me and like Rusty Money Gaming and a few other ones, and I can't remember their names off the top of my head, but I know who Rusty Money is too. So he's a really good guy as well. But
Yes, he
um,
is.
we Farmer Cop was another one that I forgot to mention earlier because he did a lot of good stuff too. That and being in Washington State, he's just on the other side of it, I believe. But yeah, sorry, just cop thing popped in my head. But there you go, squirrel, right? but with that, he actually asked some of us if we wanted to be in there. Like, yeah, sure. So he comes up with the maps. If you look, I can't remember all of his map, but I know if you go into the maps and go into um, the if you're doing contracts, the people that are asking for the contracts, my logo and a couple other, not this one I have now, it's one of my older ones, we're in there as Rabid Rob's one of the people, Rusty Money, or some of these other people. He changed it. Like, oh, that's freaking cool.
Huh. That is
So
cool.
that was really neat, yeah. And I think that's another great thing about some of the maps that like Alien Jim did. What's that one that was? There's one with the helicopter. You can actually fly up in the helicopter a little bit. It was a 19. Can't remember the name of that one for the life of me right now, top of my head. But he actually put same thing with Spectacle Island. He put Mr. CDP's logo in there somewhere. With the other one there that I was talking about, I just can't remember the name. He said there's so many of them. It's kind of hard to catch some of the names in some of them. And he actually puts like Farmer Klein and I think Farmer Cop and some other people. There are names on the doors of the houses in the little town area. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. So it's really neat to see when people do those things and they add their Sussex. There you go. Sorry, CS Benji just put in there. But yeah, if you look at some of those houses down by some of the farm areas, they actually have their names on, like their little names on the plaque on the houses. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I love when some of the modders actually add things into them like that too.
It adds like a little bit of something special. Like a little nod and a wink kind of thing.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think the Sussex one too. I think Mr. CDP was mentioning that one of the names of the flower place, I think a flower shop, was actually one of his daughter's names or something. I was like, oh, that's freaking cool.
Oh, that is
So
cool.
it's really neat when you see people like that. Alien Jim, Missy B's really, she's been in Farmer Klein's a lot too. She comes and says stuff when I'm in the chat, and she seems like she great maps, great mods as well. Granny Gamer, or oh, what's her name again now? I just had it. But yeah, there's this again with the modders and the moderators and all that. It's just so many people. It's hard to remember every single one of them. But yeah, it's just so cool to see how many different modders, how many makers, how many people, how many creators, and everybody meshes together as one big family. It's really cool.
Oh, 100%. The community that we have going here in Farm Sim is just next level amazing. One of the best experiences I've ever gotten into was joining this community, and I've been a part of many of them. This is by far the best, by far and away.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Granny Tana. Oh, Matana. That's the one I was thinking of.
Omatana.
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
CS Benji's on it tonight. But yeah, and I mean, you still have your sour puss pusses every once in a while, just like anything else you go to. But um, it's so less here, and it's so less stressful. And like I said, going to Call of Duty or something like that, and everybody's wanting to fight, and everybody wants to do. Oh my gosh, just and of course, being a gamer that I did some programming and learned how to do some of these things. When I hit the button, I shoot at somebody and they shoot back and kill me first. It's like, what? I'm supposed to win that fight because I did it first. It just gets frustrating because you pulled the trigger first, whatever it is. But
Oh yeah,
little
that's
things like
that's
that.
why
So
I
it's
stopped playing those kind of games. Is
yeah.
it's just I get too frustrated, and I just like, you know what? Life's too short to be frustrated all the time.
And it also depends on who you play with. I have some buddies of mine that we play, and we just get one of the guys is an old military guy too. So I mean, he's younger than I am, but he's ex-military as well. And we just it's not real. It's not real. It doesn't. You can't jump and slide or do this and still shoot and be 100% accurate. There's no way in life that would really ever happen.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's a video game, so you can't really take that in consideration, unfortunately. But then I play with some other friends of mine, and then we get a little more tactical, and we're good. It can be a lot more relaxing and efficient. We're efficient with things, but generally the game's irritating. So yeah, it's just, and again, same with that too. If I get started fresh, okay, settle down, farm some time, go over to farm some and just chill out for a little
Let's see. Ken, thank you so much for your question. We got one from Nacho Cast says, "You down for more Red Dead Sunday?"
bit. He's talking to you or me?
He's talking to you.
Of course, Nacho. Let me know when you want to play some other. I don't mind jumping in. I was on last night. I think I was telling some of the guys in Gold, and I go into the Valentine, I go in the place, and I come out and boom, get sniped. I'm like, what the crap? And then 2 seconds after I respond, boom, get shot by somebody else. Two people were in there, and they just kept on shooting, killing me. One shot because they got much higher gear than I do. I'm like, what is wrong with these jerks, man? So I just, whatever. One of them I shot several times, but I didn't kill him because I didn't have the right weaponry, of course. But they got me again. I'm like, this is just not worth it anymore. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why people got to be such jerks like that, but whatever.
Oh yeah, the spawning spawn kills, yeah, drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. They just look for any advantage they can get a hold of at that point.
Yeah, it's like, well, how is that fun for anybody anymore? You're just,
Mm-hmm.
makes sense.
So Dust Bunny went out to Google and looked up honk a tootie and says that could potentially refer to making a loud noise. This would be consistent with the literal meanings of honk and tootie. I had no idea about this.
For some reason, I get the tootie part sounds like a fart. Toot,
Yep.
I don't know why. That's where my
Well, see,
brain goes.
that's honestly what I was kind of thinking when the question was first asked by Gold Gaming.
Yeah.
But at this point, I will just nod and smile and hope that this never comes up ever again.
Yeah.
And last question we got here is from Samuel Wilkinson. Samuel, thank you so much for your question. Says, uh, let's see, I think I play on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, I think he's asking, do you play on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, or PC?
I I played 19 originally on PlayStation. I had a PS5 at the time. I just got the PS5, so I played 19 on PS5 because it was free for PlayStation Plus. And then right towards the end, right before 22 came out, I actually get a PC, so I had 19 on that for a little bit. 22, I had it on both PC and PlayStation. I played the majority on PC just because of the mods and everything you can use. Especially the easy dev stuff works out great. 25, I only have it on PC right now, so I don't believe I'm gonna get it on my PlayStation just because if I don't play it on there, it's better to have it in one spot instead of buying it twice. But so yeah, generally mostly PC. I do like to play with others that are crossplay. And that's one another thing I love about the crossplay and the multiplayer options. You could do so much with that too, and it's really cool to see other people do that.
I gotcha. So, like I said, that's the end of all the chat questions up until this point. Now, it is already 2 hours into the stream, and that's normally where I cut it off. But we haven't even gotten into the second segment of the show. Uh, are you good to continue, or do you want to?
As long as you are, man, I don't want to.
I'm
You're the one has to
I'm
go. You're the
good.
one's 2 hours ahead of me.
I am good to go for a while now. So if you're okay with it, then we can continue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, awesome. Well, the second segment is called Meat and Potatoes, emphasis on potatoes. This is a section where we get to know you more as a creator rather than you personally. So, first question I got for you is what's the story behind your channel name?
Well, the farming, obviously, that's pretty basic. Rabid Rob, I don't remember why that came up. It was just years and years ago. I think it was when I don't think it was PS3 even. I don't remember if it was even PS3. But yeah, I've had the Rabid Rob name for quite some time now. Um, I just wanted to, it was Rabid underscore Rob. That was the main one I did originally because or something was taken. I did whatever. But yeah, so I did the Rabid underscore Rob, and that was my main game name, I think from PS3 forward. And it's just something that I did, all my buddies, they have their names and whatnot. So I just put mine in there. And um, then when I came to Farming Simulator, when I was starting to do content creating, especially since I was started off on my PlayStation, I created um, second name on there. So instead of just Rabid underscore Rob, I did the Rabid Rob, the gaming one. So the second profile on my PlayStation. And so that way I don't have all my personal because my regular one had more personal, and especially when I was being friends, it had the name and whatever in it. So I created the secondary one. Plus, that way I can get online and not have everybody pester me to play games because I was trying to do content. I know it sounds bad, but trying to content create. So yeah, I was going to that, and um, so yeah, the rabbit, and then that's like I said earlier, is Rabid Rob doesn't sound it's weird with the farming thing. And especially if you go Rabid Rob, if now, for instance, if you want cattle from somebody, are you going to go to somebody named Rabid? Probably not. But if I do like a R squared, you have no idea. Or just RR or something like that. So yeah, Rabid Rob, and again, it just comes down to my personality, I guess. It comes down more because I like to goof around, have a good time. Some people don't realize how blunt that can be. And it's not being a jerk by any means, but sometimes there's just certain questions, certain things like just say it. There's no reason to beat around the bush about it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's sometimes better to cut to the heart of the issue rather than, worrying about fluffing it up.
Exactly.
So, one of the things that I think kind of sticks out the most in regards to your channel would be your channel logo. You've got the kind of skull with the fiery red eyes, with the straw hat, and the bits of wheat hanging out. What kind of inspired you to utilize that as your logo?
Well, the original one was minus the red eyes. There's the skull with the blue flame behind it. That one stuck out to me. I found it on Google one day. I'm like, well, that's cool. I like that because it's blue. It's not the fiery red or yellow, so it's a little calmer. So it's not as crazy looking. I don't think. I mean, it's still obviously a school, but it was really well done. Um, so for my gaming channel, before I changed to farming, it was just the blue skull thing, and then I don't know if you know Gaming Joy, really really great guy too. He's been he helped me out with a few other things in my times. There's so many people, like I said, his family, we all help each other out, and he's been uh, pretty good with very great to help me out a little bit too. So with the I told him we talked about sort of the red eyes in there. I couldn't get it to work properly. He was able to actually add that in there for me and put that. So the Rabid Rob Gaming with the red eyes and the blue skull. That's mostly him on that one. So the other channel one, this farming one, I just figured out. Oh, let's make it a little more farming, but keep the skull thing because why not? So I did have somebody else make some other ones for me, but she's no longer in the picture, so whatever. So I changed it back to my stuff. But so I was like, let me throw a straw hat on, kind of make it a farming, a little less creepy looking, right? And then I changed the letters to the more farming type thing and put farming under. And then I was like, well, farmers have that little wheat thing sticking out of their mouth a lot too. So I just added in there, and then of course I had Farming Sim 19 and 22 on there, and then I added the 25 in the background there. So I'm trying to kind of showcase what games I started with and whatnot. So just kind of progression throughout the time. It's the original one I started with a few tweaks.
I gotcha. I gotcha. So, you said that you started out in FS19. How long was it after you started playing Farm Sim before you started getting into the whole content creation sphere?
I think it was a few months maybe. Like I said, I did a lot of testing, training, but I was working out every day. Playing the game every second I had a chance to after work and whatnot. So, heck, even during the pandemic time, I was working at home for a lot of the time. So I'd actually had to I'd switch screens, especially when I got on the PC. Well, before that, I would literally have my laptop that work sent me for working from home. We did hybrid. Most of the stuff I was doing was work at home anyway. Excuse me, the hiccups there. But I had I'd switch over during the daytime if I wasn't taking calls, do anything, talking to employees or whatnot. I would literally switch my TV back and forth between the game and work stuff. So yeah, I learned a lot. And then once I got to the hang to where I was doing a little more of it, I started doing a little bit of content. Just did quick, something little videos, something simple. Um, and once I started getting into that, the same thing. I learned a lot about things. And the friends just started coming out there. Friends, family, everybody else just started popping out. And I got so many people that, again, I don't want to keep. I got so many names, but I just don't want to keep doing because I'm gonna miss somebody, and I feel terrible about that. But yeah,
Well,
it's
and you earlier you mentioned Gaming Joy. Did an interview with him a while back. Big shout out to Gaming Joy. Yeah, he's a good
yeah,
dude.
he's got a great demeanor about him too. He's really calm and collective. He's just like, hey, how's it going, guys? And when I did series in my days, I would really like to start doing again. It was called My Neck of the Woods. What I would do, so I'd either find a new map that came out or something that had interested me that I found on like King's Mods or somewhere, out there, or itch.io, something PC related. I'm like, oh, that's a really cool looking map. Let me do something on that side. I literally go through the map and check things out and, try and showcase it, kind of a map review live stream type deal. And he would come in there and he'd be, hey, check the map. One of the big things that he kept on talking about was the grass, which is legit, legitimately a question on it. So same thing. And unfortunately, there was times where you'd mow the grass and all of a sudden that would turn into a field instead of it would just be meadow grass and regrow. So learning a lot from what he was asking and the way he was doing it. Obviously, his mods and everything too were great as well. So he does some really good work on. And same thing, like I said, he doesn't have a whole lot of mods and mod hub, but he can edit things quite a bit. And I've learned a few things trying to go that route. But yeah, it's there's so many different people. There's people that are strictly content creating. There's people that'll show you how to edit things. There's people that do this. Like the same thing with, like I said, with Farmer Klein as well. There's some stuff that I learned from how he does some videos he has. If you're on a multiplayer thing, if you're on PC, you can still do some of the dev control stuff. You just have to do it. It's not just the easy dev button because obviously it's not crossplay. But if you do it properly and have it set up before you even loaded the game, you could still go in there and fly around the map or super strength or whatever. So it's really cool when you get those extra things. And of course, like you said, with Gaming Joy, he already knows how to do all that stuff. He's very good at learning and where the heck, or where to find the edits and what not to edit. And it's like, dang, that took me a lot longer to figure it out than he did. But yeah, there's so many great people and so many positive things in Pharma Simulator, that's for sure.
Well, and yeah, that's one of the things that I've experienced is just everybody seems so willing to help where they can, um, for whatever it may be. People aren't gonna sit there and do it for you, but they'll kind of show you the tips and the tricks and all that stuff to be able to get you to the next step, kind of thing. And it's really nice. It's again a really great sense of community around here.
And that's the thing too, like you said, is there's there's some people that are everywhere that you have some issues with here and there. But generally, yes, everybody's been so helpful and so productive, and everybody's really willing to take the shirt off, give you the shirt off their back, or roll up their sleeves and jump in with you, you know. And I appreciate that very much. And same thing with me, you know. If something comes up, you know, I am do whatever I can to try and help out as well. Because I mean, again, I pull up so many different streams because I'm trying to watch everybody and give them the watch time and not, but yet not try and have so many sounds in my ears that I who's talking to who. But I don't try and drop my don't drop your yeah I don't I appreciate it, but I'm not there for me dropping my content. I'm there for the person I'm watching, obviously, to show that support. So
Absolutely. So, what's one thing that you never expected when you started your channel? And some examples that I give are the sense of community, unexpected backlash, things along those lines. What was one of the things that you kind of never expected would happen?
uh I never I was hoping to get monetized and get to a certain level, but I didn't really expect to get it, uh, especially the viewing hours so fast. I wasn't I'm just trying to get in there and play some games and hang out with some people. Some of the people that wanted to play multiplayer with me and things like that. I'm like, wait, what? Because it's one of those things that, like I said, I play mostly solo, and I had some friends. I don't know if you know the FS crew. The Oregon Trees and Country Bumpkin, Coble 73 Gaming, myself. We four of us started playing together, but it was so hard for us to do because Country Bumpkin, him and his wife would play, so she'd play all the time. Coble, his wife started playing a little bit too. Uh, we did several live streams at night, late nights, but unfortunately, Oregon Trees in Oregon, so he's Pacific time. I'm Mountain time. Coble's in Central time, and then the Bumpkins are Eastern time. So we got four different time zones. That's so hard to do, but
Yeah, you were literally spanning the entirety of the states there.
yeah, exactly. All four time zones. But when we did do it, it was just so much fun, and we had so many good times with it. And we clicked, we connected with each other so much. We got to be good friends, and we still talk to each other all the time. But same thing as in life comes up, people come over in time zones. Obviously, it's going to be a real tough one to work with all the time. If you think about Oregon Tree, 10 o'clock at night, it's 2 o'clock in the morning already on the East Coast. I mean,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
it's crazy how that works out, but so much community and so many good people, and I think I think, yeah, the biggest surprise I think was the getting up to the point where you can get monetized and like, really, I can do all that. That's great. And the people that follow you, I mean, you got people that just stick with you the whole time. It's great.
Yeah, no, and that's something very similar that I've experienced is, the people who'll ride with you, they'll ride with you for, you know, practically through anything. It's again that goes back to that sense of community. Farm Sim has one of the most loyal uh bases in their community. And it's overwhelming at times, to kind of see how much people will go to bat for you. They'll sit there and help out and do everything that they can do. It's incredible. It's really incredible to see. So, would you consider Farm Sim to be your favorite game? And if not, what is your favorite game?
Yeah, it's definitely my biggest go-to. I mean, I had so many other games before to play around with, and due to a Fortnite stint, and then back away from it, and then come back and forth. But honestly, I think Fortnite's got a pretty good deal that they do there, where it's a free game and you can just buy all this stuff. It's mostly not, it's mostly just skins and whatnot, so it's not really making you fight better, but it just looks cool. But that concept of free gameplay is pretty awesome. And then you can buy the battle pass. And if you do it right, and if you don't buy anything else, you can buy the battle pass once and then just keep using the credits that you get from that battle pass to buy the next one, the next one, next one. So technically you can play for free all the time, but it's such a cool thing to be able to see games like that nowadays. But of course, there's so many different ads and whatnot you can buy into. But yeah, Farming Simulator is just such a great. I like a lot of simulation games, but something about Farming Simulator, just being able to get in there and play the game. It's so relaxing and calming and everything. The biggest thing that I wish they would do something with where it was more of a little more of a hardcore cat mode. Because even if you go into hard mode, start from scratch, and you have a huge bill, whatever, if you do a couple contracts in the fields, you're pretty much back up to par, no problem. You get so much from those contracts generally, unless it's a really small map.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's based on like the kind of base game, easy, medium, hard kind of thing. It's nothing's really too outside of the grasp kind of thing. And I think that's why there's such a huge base of creators out there and players and whatnot who will come up with like all these, in some cases, really off the wall kind of challenges. Like Rusty Money Gaming comes up with some really
Oh,
amazing
I know.
challenges to go through. And
Yeah,
it just makes it just that much harder to be able to kind of progress, because of these kind of self-imposed uh, little addendums to the game. And it's a really kind of a cool thing is you're basically taking the confines of the game itself and expanding it, through these self-imposed kind of, measures.
and that's kind of what I like to do more of too. That's why I like doing more. I mean, he does a really good job with his live streams and keeping implementing his types, like the square by square, the old iron stuff. That the things that his grandpa's, it's rusty. His voice just hilarious. It's such a great thing to see. But that's what I like to do too. In my side is I like to do. Yes, it's a farm sim game. Yes, you're doing this. Yes, you're doing that. But I don't want to start off with $1 million and just you're pretty much done. You're good. You don't need to go anywhere else from that point. So I like to start off mostly from zero, or I move from one map to another. I might bring whatever money I had and try and make a storyline. I like making something that's more interactive to me that way as well. And it's not the boring same thing. Hey, I'm mowing grass. Hey, I'm going to silage that. Hey, hey, this is what's going on. I bought this next field or this area here. We're going to do something to make it a little bit more your own and more depth to it than just here's a game, have fun, type thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's well, would you consider yourself to be more of a role player kind of content creator, or a kind of let's play kind of content creator?
Yeah, it's like more of the role play type. I do a little bit of both, but mostly role play. I like to have some type of storyline to what I'm doing, and ideally, I think just like we're doing the FS thing and farm sim FS files, whatever. It's more of a it's almost like not like a movie, but like a series, like a TV show almost. I like to make something that's a little more intuitive that way. I think just more in depth, and it's not just the same. Hey, here's a field when you go pop. Have something story that goes along with it, or hey, I'm doing this field for the neighbor, or like I did one on Renderville, a couple different maps. I did two series because it fit. I thought with the where I did it was called the Drifter, where so there was an old motorcycle that was in Mod Hub. I think it might have been on, but either way, it was a mod that you could get. And so I ride into Renaboo and hey, I'm gonna try and help this farmer out. He was asking for something, so I literally stay at the place there and help them with the farm stuff. So I did multiplayer and had two farm things. So I would do everything contractual for him on his side, and then move a couple bucks over to my side, something like that to make it more interactive. Like I said on that.
I gotcha. So walk us through, let's say, an average day where at the end of the day you're gonna make some farm sim content. How you're in bed, you wake up, go from there. Kind of walk us through your day.
Well, the most part of what was obviously during the weekday, I'd get up, go to work, do my thing there, and then come home. Usually home by 4:30, and do I get up at 5:30, so I had to be at work at 7. at the time. Like this just changed recently within the last month or so. But I'd go to work, and then come home by 4:30, have dinner, and by 5 o'clock or so, I'm on the game. Um, and of course, if I'm thinking something during work time, or if I have something else comes up, or if I'm in a series, I want to do this next section of it, next episode, and I get online, jump into it, and play the game. So again, we all know Farm Simulator is not something you can jump in and play an hour, one series or whatever. It's going to take a little while, which is fine. I mean, that now multiplayer, obviously, if you're on a server, it's plow time. You go in there, you plow, and that's pretty much it. You can't really do anything else until the next time it comes around. But I'd get in there and start doing the episodes. Originally, when I was doing the PlayStation ones, I would definitely, I would always do them, and then before I went to bed, I'd have them uploading, and then I'd have them basically post right away. So then I learned how to do where I would get them set up and then go ahead and schedule them. So I tried to do a certain times. I tried checking different times throughout the day to see what would hit the best or get the most views or whatever. There's a lot of different stipulations behind all that too. So I've tried looking at the analytics of YouTube. Yes, it's confusing for a lot of things, but if you really pay attention to certain ways, I've learned how to and when to watch things. So I'll record my stuff and try and set it out to a certain time, but also keep it to a certain amount of time frame, so that way it's not overbearing for half an somebody to watch, especially when you're watching your view times, and most people stay there between 5 or 10 minutes or whatever. Just little things like that. I try to keep, of course, with YouTube views, if you go 5 hours on a live stream every single time, they got people in there for an hour and a half or 2 hours. Well, you're losing 3 hours of time there. So back it up a little bit, and you're going to have a higher rating because you're going to be viewing a lot longer according to the length of the streams. So just learning a lot of all that stuff and trying to. So yeah, a lot of things after work was me figuring out stuff like that. I did so much research and so many things like that, which I enjoy doing too. So that's another thing. Is a lot of people to get in, jump to play the game, and go. And that's what I hear a lot of people say. They want to do a live stream. They just hit the button, go live, and they're done when they're done. And I appreciate that. Thank you for that. But I like a little more depth to it. And so once I get my video and my game going, like I said, I'll go back in, cut the ends. I always do certain things that I learned to kind of tweak my videos to where they're at now. And obviously, I'm trying to get better with everything. But yeah, just do that. And for a while there, I was doing a video pretty much every day except Sunday, pretty much, I think. So it was a lot, especially since they were different series. It was, but again, I'm playing a great game that I enjoyed playing anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes it a lot easier to be able to make the content, especially when you are doing it on something that you genuinely enjoy.
And it shows too, because that's the other problem. Like I was saying earlier, if you push yourself to make yourself to do a video, people are going to notice that, and like, you didn't sound like you were into this at all. But if you're really into it and going, oh my gosh, and you're really acting into it, then that's a whole nother spiel that goes on with that too.
Yeah, exactly. So FS25 has been out for a little while now. And when we were starting to hear about it, it being released and all that stuff, we were starting to get some of the features and all the kind of things that were, being advertised about it. And they were telling us all sorts of different kind of features, specifically things like, ground deformation and the god rays and all these types of things that were really starting to get people hyped up. What was that one feature that you were most excited about when FS25 was kind of being advertised?
It's funny too, because both when 22 came out and 25, I took that week off so I could just do content. So I could just play the game, learn it, and do some content. So
Same here.
when 25 was when 25 was coming out, I was excited about the rice idea. That was kind of cool. The water buffalo and the weather features. Weather, like I said, it's cool, but it's somewhat disappointing just because the fact it doesn't really do a whole lot. Now, if it threw a tractor or a semi or something across the road, that'd be kind of wild. But it's new, so I can't really complain too much about it because being something new like that, just with precision farming or some of these other ones that they've done, if you think about how far it's come since it started, it's progressively getting better. So same thing with the weather thing. I think they'll be able to get it better, especially with the next version that comes out. Um, so that would be really neat to see. But yeah, the rice idea, I couldn't figure it out originally, but once I played on the Hunan Tantai or the uh, yeah, it's like, oh, that makes sense now because you have to actually have it down a little bit so you can flood the field and all, and it's pretty neat ideas. But so yeah, those are most things. I do like to watch the videos and it just gets you so excited. Like, oh, what's coming out?
I was the same way. Every time I'd see a new feature, it's like, oh, that looks so good.
Yeah. Like, I want to play it now, man. I hate that. I hate waiting. It's funny. I have patience for certain things, but other things that I probably should have patience for. People are like, why don't you just calm down? I'm like, I don't wanna.
Oh,
I want it now.
I'm 42 years old, and I swear there's sometimes I act like I'm a teenager or even just a small
Yeah.
child. And when Farming Simulator 25 was coming out, it's like, I don't want to wait anymore. I want it
Yeah.
now.
I'm an adult. I have money. I can buy it right now. I'll give it to me. Yeah. It's funny because I'm the same way. I don't act my age at all. I mean, my family, especially my stepmom, she tells me a lot to not mess with the kids usually. And we're talking about, maybe teenagers, if not even younger kids, because I start to act like them and goof around like them a lot, but I'm also a lot bigger than them. So you get them riled up. You always do this. I'm like, I'm just trying to have some fun. I was told I'm the cool uncle. I don't have any kids myself. I never had, but obviously, but yeah, with they call me the cool uncle because I can do those things. And have fun with them, but also I get to go home and I don't have to deal with them all the time either. So, but kids
It's
are
the
great.
privileges of like the uncles, the aunts, and like
Yeah.
grandparents is you can do things, get them riled up, get them sugared up, and then send them home.
Yeah. And I mean, ideally, I always thought it would be great to have kids. And yes, I think kids are great. Something, that's you, that's a little you. It's part of your lineage and it's part of who you are. But obviously, the older I'm getting, it's like, oh, probably not going to happen. Yeah, I thought about adopting at one point too, but especially just by myself, it's like, but also same thing as it's the older you get, the harder it would be, especially with the young kids. I have friends
Mhm.
that have kids, so I can hang out with them if I want.
Yeah, no, I hear you there. My wife and I, we started out very late with children, and it wasn't by choice. It was kind of the circumstances, the cards that we were dealt. I've
Yeah.
got, like I said, I'm 42 years old, and I've got two kids under 3 years old, and
Oh wow.
yeah, it's like I said, not by choice, but wouldn't have done it any other way. Very happy with how things turned out, but. But yeah, no, it gets tougher the older you get.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, well, yeah, for sure, but also with that, you have a little more maturity to some degree. I mean, not acting
Definitely to
wise,
some
but
degree.
yeah. But I mean, yeah, and that's the other thing that I've learned too is, I mean, yeah, I don't have kids myself, but I've helped people, and when I was in the army, the my fiance and I at the time we were living with a couple that was a really good friend of mine that I moved to St. Louis actually with originally. But him and his wife had their daughter, and so I helped. Basically, I was there the whole time. They wanted to go out. I would watch their kid and change the diaper. So I know how to do around for a bit of that. But yeah, the older you're getting, it's like, man, I don't want to deal with that stuff. But of course, like you said, it's a little different when the older you get for sure.
Yep. So going back to the features that we were talking about before, what's one of the features that you were initially kind of excited for, but then very quickly soured on?
That would be probably the weather thing. I mean, it's not super sour 100%. It's just mostly the fact that the way they talked about how the tornadoes and whatever would come through, and that's wild. And it's just like, oh look, that's there. You could literally get in it and it won't do anything. I get you don't want to have it go thrown around. And a lot of these things that also are crazy with it is the fact that it's a game. It's hard to, it's also rated G. So for everyone, pretty much all the kids. So the problem is when it comes to that type of scenario too, is there's certain things they can't do in the game to keep that rating. Obviously, like butchers and things like that are obviously really cool, especially being farms. That's what a lot of the cattle and the meat things do. They go and take them to the butcher, but they can't show those type of things, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. It's one of those where they're going to want to appeal to the biggest audience that they can, and unfortunately that means that the realism of, farming is going to be kind of tamed down just a little bit, but it's understandable. I get it. So, what's one thing that you wish was in Farm Sim like base game? Because you being on PC, you get access to things that a lot of people don't get access to. But what would you, if you had the power to just snap your finger and all of a sudden just Giants is like, okay, now it's there. What's that one thing that you would put in base game?
Well, I mean, ideally, crossplay wise would be GPS would have been for sure, and now they put it in, which is awesome because that was a huge game changer. Because I hated going down the fields and trying to line it up just right, and then I'm off just a little bit, and I can't leave one stalk of corn on the field. I have to get it all. very, very
Mm-hmm.
anal that way.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing that implemented already, that's awesome. I'm glad they did that. Um, PC side, I think they are putting more 4X maps and everything, which is pretty cool. So they're getting some more not necessarily a base game, but still mods that are in Mod Hub, which is nice. But I think for most of us content creators, especially when we're doing storylines and whatnot, that I think the easy dev thing would be a great one to have in there. Now, you can go in there and put it in yourself if you know how to go in and change the coding in the background. But so, I mean, like I said, I did that before because of videos I've watched from others, but it's nice to have it mostly for the content, like I said, because you can literally go in there, you go into the easy dev control, you can fill up your vehicles, you could do this, you could so you're not bouncing back and forth and doing everything manually, which is part of the fun of the game, absolutely. But when you're trying to create something and cut the time down so much more, that is a huge game saver or time saver, as to
So, what kind of maps do you prefer to play on? Do you prefer like the wide open American style maps, or do you prefer like the tight, compact, like UK style?
I like pretty much everything, to be honest with you, but I don't depending on the size of the map, if it's a smaller map, I don't mind it being a little bit tighter to some degree because I don't mind using smaller equipment. But for instance, Comsden, I mean, with well, Oak Bridge, whatever you call it now, the fields are so big there. But if you try and pull out a shop there, the bushes are so narrow. I don't think there's collisions as much on there now. But you hit a tree or something like that, I get it's meant to be the same as the actual location, which is awesome. I love the beautiful map, but certain things like that, especially when it comes to UK, if those bushes have collisions on them and you're trying to bring a big old truck down the road, it's going to crash into a car or a bush or something. So those things are a little bit annoying because of how tight those can be. But honestly, I like a little bit of everything. But if I'm just playing on my own, just goofing around with some stuff, I really like clean map that's got a great view and just very, very friendly feel to it, you know?
I gotcha. And then, what style of farming do you prefer to do? Do you prefer like arables, forestry, grass care?
I've just started getting to the forestry on 22 a little bit. And it's pretty cool to learn how it's fun to play around with that a little bit too. Um, ideally, I'd I'd like to have more of a self-sufficient farm. So I like to grow what the animals can eat, or for instance, barley or wheat and whatnot. Use that for chickens, and then take the straw, put it in for cows, and then have some grass fields so I can use that for the cow feed. So simple things, chickens and cows would be great. Sheep aren't too bad either, but I mean, you're getting wool out of them, which is fine. But now with the goats, the milk and all that, that's kind of a cool. Oh, water buffalo nowadays too. In 25, those prices are pretty higher. And that's another thing I wish they would kind of adjust because if you go in there and do the milk, it's usually higher than like the bottled milk, which is supposed to be processed. So the
Mm-hmm.
pricing is a little bit off on those. So, but other than that, yeah, I know I really like the animals, and again, I like to have more of a self-sustaining farm area so I could do the wheats and whatnot, and then use the crops that I can grow to feed the animals, so I'm not buying anything, and it's all. And plus, if you get a big enough field, you have crops for a good while, and then you can take the rest of it the next year. Go make bread or whatever else. Do some productions are great. I love doing the production. I think it's amazing. But again, unfortunately, right now it comes down to pricing. Everything on the productions don't make near as much as just the raw materials, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, do
Oh,
you, what's that?
sorry. Farming with Outlaw AG is starting to be a smarty pants.
Uh-oh.
He knows I'm not a John Deere fan. Well, I mean, I don't John Deere, okay, but I give people a hard time because there's all those fanboys of John Deere, John. My grandfather actually worked for International Harvester back in the day, mostly on the uh, automotive side. Just the cars, the Scouts, and the old International Harvester. So when Case has them, Case IH is my. I like the color red too. It's pretty cool, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just John Deere's one of those. Again, I don't hate him by any means. If it works, it works. Does things, but I don't. John Deere's not the only American company. So farming with Outlaw AG, whatever. But no, and that's the other thing that's cool about us. So many people, I used to get blame Rabid Rob because people would goof around about things. So, and that's what I like about the community. We can razz each other a little bit, but yet it's all in good fun. And that's, like I said, with
Exactly.
him, it's just kind of fun to do certain things and give it, and especially when they do, when you get to know some people that way, you can kind of, and again, like we talked about at the beginning, we can be smarty pants a little bit to each other. As long as we're giving it back and forth, it's fine. But don't get a little panties in a bunch if it starts to hurt your feelings a little bit. Settle down, talk about it. But yeah, it's all meant for good fun.
Exactly. No, absolutely. So,
See, it's fun to blame Rabbit Ross. Sorry, he just popped in there,
so
and that's again, it's a fun part of it. Okay, okay, sorry.
do you do a lot of contract work when you're making content or when you're playing the game?
Depends on what's going on. Originally, I like to start off with the um especially if I'm doing like the start from scratch or something like that. Yeah, I do like to do the the contract work to kind of build up. If it's something that's the farm's already there, or if I'm doing a certain series that I, taken over a farm, I might do some contract work, but most of it is, yeah, I mean, it's just for income purposes until you get your own farm going on. But I did
So,
notice in 25, the contract work for like especially the grains or the harvesting stuff, you don't get near as much as extra like we did in 22.
yeah, they really tweaked things big time for 25. I mean, you look at the grass contracts that we got. They separated everything out. You can't
Mm-hmm.
keep anything extra, especially when you're baling it. It's one of those.
Yeah.
It's yeah. It can be a real nightmare sometimes compared to what we used to get in 22.
Yeah, those silage contracts used to be worth it, man.
Mm-hmm.
You get those, especially the bigger fields, you just take those down there, and then you have almost a whole trailer full of extra silage that you can make money off of or save, so great.
Oh yeah, I mean, by the end of the first couple of months, you had all the materials that you needed in order to
Just
make
from
like
contracts.
TMR. You could, yeah, just from contracts, you could sit there and start up an entire dairy farm just on contract alone.
Hmm.
So, of
I think,
the jobs that are available to us right now, what is your most and least favorite contract to do?
well, I used to like or least favorite are the root crops. I do not like doing root crops.
Is it because of the length of time it takes to get the job done?
mostly because it's such small equipment.
Yep.
So you get small equipment, it takes forever to get it through. And yeah, I mean, it can be rewarding to some degree, but if you're doing a huge field or a contract, especially since you're not getting much out of it anyway, um, yeah, that can be a little bit of annoying. I used to like the harvesting grains and whatnot because the extra you get, you use it for chicken feed or cows or horses or whatever it is. But now you don't get all that extra stuff. So, um, the now again when it comes to easy dev, the the fertilizing ones are very easy because you can literally go to the field, hit the button, click the field change to fertilize, and boom, your contract's done. So it's a cheat mode, yes, but unfortunately, with those ones, you do have to add your product to it too. So you got to remember that. But you get that reimbursed generally too. So it depends on how you work that out. But yeah, unfortunately, they changed it to 25. So I think the grass ones are kind of cool. Mowing's fun. I mean, it's relaxing, especially if they give you a big mower. It's kind of neat to do.
Mm-hmm. So, as a content creator, what kind of advice would you give to somebody who's looking to start in the content creation sphere?
Well, like I said before, too, the best thing to do is look at your ideally check your stuff. Don't watch your thing because you're being cocky about it. Like, oh, look at my comp. Keep an eye on it. I had a problem with my headset for a little while. I'm actually using the same headset still, but I did a different mic. I just turned the mic off on the headset. The SteelSeries Arctic 7. Great headset. I had it for, she's 5 years now. Holy cow, it's been a long. Yeah, it's been a while. But it's wireless, which is I love the wireless headset. It makes it so much easier. You can walk around and move stuff. But I literally had the little dongle right next to right when I was in the apartment when I first started. I would literally have it sitting on the coffee table, not even 2 feet away from me. And for some reason, the mic would kind of skip in and out. Like, what is going on? I didn't realize it because somebody else was saying, "Hey, your mic sounds like that on one of my video, or a couple of my videos." I'm like, what's going on? So on that note, I do believe it's good to go back and double check your stuff. Now, yeah, when I'm editing it, but I'm only checking a small portion of it. So just keep an eye on your content and listen to the community. Very, very big deal. I think I do my best to try and respond to every single person that comments on the videos. I've missed some, and I apologize profusely with that. But respond to them. I mean, that's the whole point of it. There is to talk to you, to be part of the community, to be part of your family, to be part of everything. I have one young gentleman that responds almost every single time to my videos that pop out because I have them come out in the morning, and he's like, first, I'm like, great, cool, thank you so much. But he's got some medical disabilities. He's got but he's such a great kid. I'm friends with him on Facebook too, and he's always got pictures of him and his family. And man, it's those kind of people make it so much more worthwhile because they can't do some of the stuff that you can do. They're there's so much depth behind them because they're genuine. They're genuinely there to support you, and that's so cool to see that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I completely understand what you're saying there. It's amazing to get to interact with everyone and to kind of learn a little bit about them and kind of see how things progress from there. It's an amazing experience. So, what would you consider to be the most memorable moment of your content creation career so far?
I think I think most memorable and probably most rewarding too is when we did streams for the FS crew. We did a couple. There was two different ones that we did. We did I mean, obviously getting monetized is awesome, getting 1,000 subscribers and the belt, but that is a quick thing, and then it's not my whole goal. It's nice to be able to have those, but it's not. It's part of the community, part of us. So what we did, we had we had some wildfires here in Colorado, and then there was also big tornadoes that whipped through, I think, Kentucky and a few other places. So we did for some fundraisers live streams, and The longest one I did was, I think it was like 10 hours or something. Did one for like 5 hours and went back, get something to eat and came back and did another 6 hours or whatever. So when you do
Wow.
those long ones, but what it was for, we literally we did put our street, hey, don't donate to us, do anything, donate to this. It was like whatever the rescue group was for them, so that way people can donate. So we did these long live streams, multiplayer, bring people in, help play. Hey, if you want to donate, donate directly to this to help those people out. That was probably one of the most rewardings, because you're doing something for somebody else. And even one of the guys that was part of the Shanty Boys, actually, he lived out where one of this problem was at. He's like, yeah, you guys are, thank you for doing that. To see that kind of response from people that are in those areas, it's just wow. It just really hits you.
Yeah, no, I could imagine that'd be like a really powerful thing, and being able to have the opportunity to do something like that, that's incredible. That's really cool.
Yeah, and my advice on that too is, if you want to do fundraisers, that's great, but don't chase them either, because then it looks like you're trying to do something to make your channel look better, which is not good either, because you want to do it for the right reasons.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, it's if you're sitting there like using the words you said, chasing it, then yeah, it can come off rather what's the word I'm looking for? Rather disingenuous.
Exactly.
So, who would you consider to be your favorite map maker and modders?
Oh man. I don't have a really favorite, because there's so many of them. Like I said, Kaz64, and he's been very interactive with, which I really appreciate. He's a good guy. Actually, I don't know if you know Lucas Island. Do you remember that one? It was it
Yes.
had coffee and stuff on it. That's actually named after his grandson.
Really?
Yeah. And then if you look at that map in 22, there's actually a boat that's outside of there. That's actually says the minnow on it. So it's actually, and if you look at um the people that do the contract owners and whatnot, they are actually names. A lot of it's from actual Gilligan's Island. I'm like, oh, that's freaking cool. So
I didn't even
again, when it
realize
comes,
that.
yeah, exactly. Again, when it comes to modders and things like that, it's so cool to see those little things that are thrown in there. Like, wait a minute. And Alien Jim obviously is great too. I don't know if you remember. I think it was actually in Sussex. Now that I think about it, he had a spaceship that was actually crashed outside the map zone. You can't get to it, but you could see the spaceship outside there. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, no, Alien Jim was definitely one of my favorite modders back in 19 and
Yes.
22. I vividly remember Spectacle Island and Washoe,
Hmm.
Nevada.
Oh,
Obviously
yeah.
No Man's Land. There's so many great maps that he came out with, and they all had their kind of little like
Yeah, they're
flair to them.
unique, yeah, unique little twists and whatever. Yeah, like Missy B too. She did a lot of great time. Oh, Matana does some great stuff too.
Hmm.
There's just so many people. Lancy Boy's done a lot of. He does a lot of details on his too, which is pretty awesome. And Cavalier Roy doing the Maypole Farm, and I think Riverbend or Riverview. So he's a really good guy too. He plays Wreckfest a bit too, so it's really cool to sit and watch him. Yeah, so many. It's so hard to pick one or two, because there's so many great ones, and when you get them all into the same game mode combined, it's like, man. And when you can combine everybody's stuff together, again with the Alien Gym, I mean, like No Man's Land, he had so many packs that went with it, that you can put things, rocks and this and that, and trees, different types of things, to make it a unique 100% map. I think Farmer Cop was one of the best series I've remember seeing with him. That when he built that map up, oh my gosh, this whole town that he had. I can only imagine how much stuttering that would do when you get down in the middle of that, because all those mods he had put in there.
Well, one thing that I've always said about map makers, modders, and whatnot is it seems like every single one of them has a specialty. Every single one of them has their own like key strengths to them. And a perfect example of that would be like Cavalier Roy. One of the greatest things I think that Cavalier Roy does is that he makes his maps seem very modular. And what I mean by that
Mm-hmm.
is you look at like Maypole Farm, you don't have to buy the entirety of a farm. You can buy a chicken coop, or you could buy a, a uh, horse pasture, or you can buy the entire like peripherals, meaning the sheds and things like that of the farm, but none of the pens and pastures and stuff like that. You can buy all these kind of a la carte kind of things. You've got
Yeah, no doubt.
a creator like Oxygen Jaded, who's highly, highly detailed and very kind of real life oriented. You've
Mm-hmm.
got a Lancy Boy who's highly detailed and highly, like not necessarily real life oriented, but just a kind of fantasy, but still has that it could be real life kind of look to it.
Yeah,
So it's
borderline kind of. Ooh, yeah.
like, yeah, like that blending of fictitious and reality kind of thing, and it's a really kind of cool thing. And I think each and every single modder out there has those strengths that really kind of sets them apart and can make them the best in certain ways.
Mhm. Yeah, it's they said they each have their unique things, but yet, and then like Mac Trucker and like Omatana, some of the capacities on their things are quite a bit higher. But again, detailed, beautiful mods that they have, and they do have the unrealistic things. And also, when I haven't seen him do much recently too, but I think he's still doing some of the A2 studios. It was a big, big 19 and 22 was huge. All the stuff that he did too. Everybody's like, "Oh, A2 Studios did it." I do wish some of the pickup trucks had a little more say with the some of the hitches don't do anything, which is kind of pointless to have a farm truck when you can't use it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
So
it's amazing how unique and everybody is, but yet combined to be one great game.
yeah, well, and because there's so many different people out there with so many different strengths, it offers a kind of a wider range of people being able to find something that best suits them. Because there's so many different players out there, so many different play styles and all that stuff. Everybody's going to have their own kind of view and take of certain things. And being able to have so many different styles, so many different people, so many different players, so many different creators, that you're going to have a greater chance to find that one map that really speaks to you on an individual level, rather than just kind of, okay, well, this is close enough kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So, last question I got for this segment is, if you had the ability to make a map in real life, let's say you had all the prerequisite skills, you knew exactly what you were doing, where would that map be based off in real life?
Colorado. That's
Any
easy. I've
any
always
particular
wanted to.
part of Colorado?
Honestly, I've been thinking about. I just need to dive into a little more. I don't know why I'm procrastinating. Probably because I'm nervous about learning something. Ideally, I would like to take something. I already got an idea in my head here for basically where I'm at, Colorado Springs here. Obviously, dwindle it down a little bit more, but make Colorado Springs. So basically, make a three map version to start off with, and this is just an idea that I had. So basically, one part of it where it was kind of like the part of the city, and then out towards the east where the plains are at, so you could actually have flat grounds and everything else. So then make a secondary one where it's more part of the town up towards the mountains, or just the mountains generally, so it's more forest map. And then do like a 4X version or even bigger, whatever. Combine those two together. Like some of them they did on, I think 22. They had a couple of them that were similar to that type of style, but something like that to where you can kind of get either the flat plains or you get the stuff like that, or move up. That way I can. And since I've lived here most of my life and I know most of the details, obviously it won't be 100% no, but just generally get the idea of the area where I grew up. That way it's a little more nostalgic to me because I grew up here, and a little more to those type of things too. I mean, there was one, I think it was Red River on 22, where it was North Dakota and Canada. I was actually born in Bismarck, North Dakota, border, obviously. That was kind of cool to see how stuff up in North Dakota too, so where I was born at. But it'd really be neat to see something here. Elk Mountain was a great one. That was one of the closest ones to me for the longest time. And actually talked to him a little bit. He actually was born in the town just north or just west of where my parents actually live now in Colorado here. So I was like, wow, what a small world. But uh, yeah, it's again, like you said, just once you start talking to some of the people, sometimes you just like, what? Where we may have known each other and didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's crazy just how um, connected we all can be, even like if you play a game of like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon kind of thing, like there's
Yeah.
only one
Yeah.
small little thing that could like just disconnect us, not just like from the game, but in real life. It's wild. Like there's been so many different instances in my life where I've seen or I've met somebody and it's like, oh hey, I grew up in this town, and I literally just had this happen just the other day. I was at the grocery store and somebody made a comment about my hat because I, tend to wear a lot of like Detroit Red Wings, hockey gear and stuff like that.
I'm sorry. Oh,
Oh, trust me, it's been a rough,
I,
it's been a rough several
I'm a
seasons.
I'm a Avalanche fan, but at least we're not rivals, so that's good. Well,
Not,
I mean, at least we're not too bad right now because yeah, one
it's
of us
been
isn't doing so good.
it's been quite a many years removed since our last rivalry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
But
either one is in and one's not. So
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I'm gonna trust the eyes are playing and just keep on, keeping my fingers
yeah,
crossed.
and again, it's a game. It's all in good fun too. It's joking around about stuff, but yeah, no, it's crazy. What were you saying? Apologize with the Detroit Red
Oh,
Wings.
so I was walking into the store and somebody's walking out and it's like, oh hey, Detroit Red Wings, go Wings! And he's like, oh, where are you from? And said, I'm from Ann Arbor, which is the biggest town. Yeah, it was around where I grew up. He said, oh no kidding, I was over in he said a town called South Lyon, and it's just a little small town. And I'm like, holy smokes, that's literally like one town removed from where I grew up.
Wow.
Like they literally just border on each other. And it was just wild how just that specific happenstance. And I'm down in Florida now. So several,
Oh wow, big difference.
several thousand
Now,
miles
you know,
removed.
if you get snow down there now, that's a whole nother ball of wax.
I think they refer to that as heck freezing over.
Yeah, exactly. So you calling Florida heck?
No, I enjoy being down here,
I had to
but
think
it's
about it. Though. You
hot
had to
as
think
it.
about it. Yeah. Oh, geez. I would always want to go to Florida, just probably winter time, just to say it'd been done it because it's a neat idea to like to go someplace. That's one of the states I've never been, but and it's funny that you say that too, because same thing when I got this place here, my apartment I'm in. I was looking online. My lease is coming up, but of course, when you're looking for places, you're trying to get about a month or so ahead, so you have time to because there's so much to look into. Found this place. There's a price range I was looking at right down the road from my job. It's like this is great, and it was Facebook Marketplace, and the guy sends me a message like, "Oh, by the way, looking at your profile, looks like we went to high school together." I'm like, "What?" He's actually 2 years older than I am, but so he was a couple years ahead of me. But like, wow, that's small. What a small world. So we talked, and they said, oh, him and his wife both were like, oh, remember so and so. So we know some of the same people from high school. I worked on it 30 some years ago, 40 years ago almost. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. So it's been pretty
Wow.
interesting. So
Yeah, that's not such a small world.
yeah, no doubt.
But like I said, that's all the questions I have for this second segment here. So now let's turn back to the audience and see what they have to say. I've got one here from Dust Bunny. Again, Dust Bunny, thank you so much for your question. It says, do you like productions? And if so, which ones?
Let me think. Yes. Yeah, I think, I mean, I remember was it 1919 was when they were implementing the animal pens in with the to make them productions, wasn't it?
Yep.
And then 22 they changed it around a little bit. I do like the production. I think it's a great idea. I do wish there was a little bit more depth. Like for instance, when you do fabric and you take it to get clothes, I think it'd be kind of cool to take those clothes into a clothing store and like hang them up on a rack or something like that. And people can go in there and buy them, and you just make money, daily off of that. If you own the store, obviously too. Same thing with like milk, whatever you put in the grocery store, because you obviously take it to the grocery store. But I mean, obviously there's a lot more added to those. But I do like the productions. Obviously, the most productive one to make the most money is the clothing, of course, because that one makes a really good amount, even no matter what you're playing it. Um, but yeah, I mean, the bread was pretty cool. I did make cereal once. That took a little bit, but uh, I like the I like the ones that are a little more depth. I did one actually, Volcano. I think it was Volcano Island. I did one. I did a series on there. They had a one where it was some type of bread. I can't remember the exact what it was, but I actually edited it a little bit where you had to put in different ingredients and make it a little more realistic. So that was kind of fun to do that. So stuff like that that takes more than just flour and you got bread type thing. But I don't like it. But I do like it. But when you're making cakes and stuff like that, man, you got to put a lot of stuff in there. So with those type of things, especially like sugar and all extra things, if you want to do the full thing, I think that's the best way to go. Is take pretty much all the productions that you can, because if you're making that many fields and doing those things, pulling them together and putting them into those things and following through like that, that would be really cool to pull through. So it's each production has its own thing, but again, I think it'd be kind of nicer, especially with the bread. Put water or some salt in there. Salt, I don't think, or you could have to buy it, I guess, or whatever. But I mean, put some water in there, because obviously to make bread, you don't just put flour, or you got to put some other ingredients. But
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was one of the coolest things to see, that kind of nice progression between 19 kind of piggybacking off the animal system to make different products, and then it actually being implemented in game to then have the production chains to kind of go and make something new with your products, like to make like the refinements and stuff. I think that was really really cool. Yeah, and you're right. Clothes are definitely one of the big ticket items that's relatively simple, but you're going to get like a really nice payout at the end of the day. But
yeah, definitely.
but also, if you go the cotton route, though, it does have that kind of big startup cost. So it's kind of a pick your poison. You're either going to have to go with the cheap option, which is your sheep, or go all in and be able to utilize the cotton, which is going to get you a little bit better of output.
Yeah,
So
it's definitely a different situation. But yeah, I think each production had its own little purpose. I think they're pretty neat, especially if you want to start off small and grow up from there. But
yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Again, Dust Bunny, thank you so much for your question. I think I found one more question from Benji. Benji says, "Do you remember OT Dave?"
uh, talk to us? I don't know. I talked to anyone actually. I don't remember TD. Huh. The name kind of rings a bell to some degree, but I can't think. Old Timer Dave. Oh, that kind of rings a bell. I remember Old Timer Farm, the map, the Old Timer map, but I don't know Old Timer Dave. Oh, man, that's a hard one. I don't remember right off the top of my head though. Do you remember an Old Timer Dave?
Don't know. That one's not ringing any bells with me.
That's your name, isn't it? That's what threw me. I was like, wait. He's talking about you, and I was calling you an old
Hey, you know what? There are times where
timer.
I feel like an old timer.
Yeah, there's times I feel like I'm almost in the grave timer.
Let's see. He has a YouTube channel as a farmer here in
Oh,
Minnesota.
that's cool.
Hmm. All right.
That's
Well,
another thing I remember. I don't know if you remember. Dirt Farmer. He went by something else. He was Montana something. He changed to Dirt Farmer, but then CBW Farms too. It's really cool. These guys are real farmers, but then they did playing games. It was really cool to see. CBW's a really great guy too. Both of them are really. I mean, pretty much everybody is. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're good. You're good. Just so you know, though, it does sound like your mic is cutting back in and out.
Oh, okay. Give me a second. That better.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm sorry. I don't know why that does that, but
Oh, OTD passed away
oh,
yesterday.
dang! I'm sorry to hear that. It sucks.
Yeah, no. Huh. Anyways, oh, and as I continue to beat up my microphone, I think that's gonna be
I do that
it.
sometimes too. Hit my. Oops, sorry, I didn't do that. You have the blue Yeti.
I do.
Yeah, it's the same one I have.
Yeah, I like it. I enjoy it. I think it does a pretty decent job, especially for the price that you pay for it.
Absolutely.
But I think that is it. I'm not seeing anything else that I'm missing. And again, I want to give a huge, big shout out to Dust Bunny. Dust Bunny, thank you so much for all your help during these streams here. It is invaluable, the amount of work that you put into, gathering these questions up for me and making it just so much easier to be able to flow in and out of these individual segments of the show. So Dust Bunny, thank you so very, very much. And that's going to lead us to our third and final segment called That's a Silage Wrap. And this is where we're going to start closing things out. I want to thank everybody who came out here tonight, hung out with us, and walked us, or not walked us through, but watched this interview with us. Rabid Rob, I want to thank you so very much for not only coming out here tonight, but sticking around for an extra hour, being able to, chat with you and get to learn a little bit more about you. So thank you very, very much.
No, absolutely. I appreciate you having me. This is my first time I've ever done an interview thing like this. I mean, like I said, it just do live streams or recordings, whatever. So it's been fun.
Yeah, I had an absolute blast, and I hope that you had the same.
It was all right. No, yeah, of course it was a blast. It was good
Oh,
times for sure.
so do you want to remind people where they can find you?
I'm in Colorado, so if you want to make it out here, yeah, just like I said, YouTube. They got me on the thing there. So yeah, I do the farming simulator on the farming channel there, and then the other one I do Call of Duty and yeah, I thought it'd be fun to try and do two channels. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing two channels for? But yeah, it's been fun, and of course, it's nice to be able to separate those out and do some things. And again, like we were talking about before, if anybody wants to play some multiplayer or anything like that, shoot me a message, check out my videos. If you want to do something, I always say in there too, let me know how you're doing, because I do genuinely care. And I think most of us do, and that's the cool thing about this community is we actually do care. We're not just saying, "Hey, talk to me." We actually mean it. So
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. If you're interested in checking out Rabid Rob, go ahead and check out the links in the description below. I also have them posted on your screen underneath his channel logo there. So go check him out, uh, either at Rabid Rob Farming 74 or Rabid Rob Gaming. Again, I want to thank everybody so very, very much. Before we sign off, do you have any future plans or projects for your channels going forward?
yeah, well, the more my thing is when the map comes out, if it clicks, then it clicks, and I try and do a series with it. So just keep an eye out for that, I guess.
Awesome, awesome. Now this is the time where I turn to the audience and ask, hey, if you enjoyed what you saw here tonight, let me know who is it you'd like me to talk to, because unfortunately, I certainly cannot keep tabs of everybody who's out there, because there's a good deal of us content creators and map makers, modders, farmers, etc. There's so many people out there that I can talk to, but I just don't know everybody. So if you have a favorite person out there that you'd like me to chat with, go ahead and let me know via the social medias. You see them below my name there. I've got Instagram, Facebook, Discord, and X. Any one of those will work. I'll be able to do my best to try and reach out to the people that you would be interested in seeing an interview with. But again, I want to thank every single one of you who came out here tonight. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And like I said, I had an absolute blast. And if you enjoyed what you saw here tonight, go ahead and show me by liking, sharing, subscribing, following, commenting, doing all the things. The algorithms enjoy you doing. The shows you're engaged with this channel, enjoying the content. And that being said, I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Take care. Rob, go ahead and hang out for just a few seconds until after the outro, and I'll catch you on the other side.
No problem.
All right. Take care, everybody.